Hey guys, so I'm sitting here prepping for the show and eating, and Crystal tells me that Hasan Piker and Cenk were both banned from the UK. Their visas were revoked. And the reason is they criticize Israel. I wish I was kidding. I'm not. Did they try to, say, Crystal, that, oh, they're anti-Semitic or something like that?
I don't even think they said that. According to Cenk, they just said they didn't like that he said Israel controlled our government.
By the way, what an ironic way to react, because, you're just making his case more solid.
Correct.
What a ridiculous... Oh, yeah, you're so out of bounds that I will do exactly the thing that you said I do. What the fuck is this?
We'll show you by banning you from our country on behalf of Israel. We'll show you that Israel's not in charge.
Now, at the same time, Bezalel Smotrich, the genocidal freak from Israel, one of the top government officials, who said, all of Gaza should be destroyed. I mean, he's got, a litany of horrendous, disgusting statements. He was just in the U.S., in New York, for the Israel parade. So if you're following along here, genocidal criminals are apparently allowed in our country, but Hasan and Cenk can't go to the UK because they've said mean and accurate things about Israel. So, I mean, look, man, this is one of those things where it's the West, whatever the fuck that means, we're not free. We're not free. It's ludicrous at this point to call us free. Whether it's, going after Rumeysa Ozturk and Mahmoud Khalil, going after the people who made jokes about Charlie Kirk, the 1,001 ways Trump has, sued the media and tried to silence the media for criticizing him. It's at the point now where it's we've hit a tipping point. And I think it's fair to say we are in outright authoritarianism, not only in this country, but in the UK. And I should point out, this was the Labour government that did it in the UK. The Labour government. So what's supposed to be the nominally left-wing party just decided to ban Hasan and Cenk for criticizing Israel. In fact, Hasan, when he was going to the UK, one of the things he was going to do, among a bunch of things, is have some sort of event or do some sort of interview with Jeremy Corbyn, the former leader of the Labour Party. But now the Keir Starmer's Labour Party is apparently so authoritarian and so anti-free speech and so anti-truth that you get banned for saying things that are just factually accurate. By the way, as I'm sure you guys know, I've heard Hasan do rants and Cenk do rants where they actually stress the point that you cannot and should not blame all Jews for the actions of Israel. And they've explained that in phenomenal ways where there's no denying these people actually care about anti-Semitism, but they also are anti-genocide and anti-apartheid and anti-terrorism. But here we are, man. I really feel like the Israel lobby is sort of out over its skis here. You've already lost the entire younger generation, and this is only going to lock that in place and solidify it. It is wild to me that you can have stuff like this happen. You could have these anti-BDS laws in America where you can't get a government contract if you criticize Israel. It's very strange, the outright authoritarian extremist tactics that this government uses and this lobby uses to try to get their way. It really is. They really are among the worst of the worst in terms of their impact on our politics. And the thing is now, everybody sees it. Everybody sees it. There's no way around it. You're not going to gaslight us out of the obvious truth that you guys have way too much money, way too much impact in our politics. And now it's at the point where well-meaning, left-leaning commentators can't even go into your country to give a speech. And stop and think about this. So if you're in the UK, you could just turn on Twitch or go to YouTube and watch Hasan say the same things that he would say if he was giving speeches in the UK in person. What do you, how are you, keeping the country safer or whatever fucking bullshit you want to peddle here? And the fact of the matter is, it's got nothing to do with that. They know it's got nothing to do with that. You are committing the ultimate sin and the ultimate crime if you criticize the Israeli terror rape state. Okay? That's how they view it. So we're going to try to censor you. We're going to try to silence you. And they're trying to lay a precedent here where it's if you're thinking about speaking out, if you're thinking about criticizing Israel, don't fucking do it. Shut the fuck up or maybe your life gets ruined. Right? Maybe you can't go to these places that you want to go to because you dare to actually tell the truth about the genocide that we all witnessed with our own two eyes. So I don't know, man. It's really dark and really disturbing to see even a labor government, right, who are supposed to nominally be the good guys. Even the labor government is now just going full like MAGA, authoritarian, fascist, and catering to like the worst government on earth. If I'm being honest, it really makes me think like they have insane dirt on Keir Starmer as well. Like that's actually what this makes me think. In the same way that we know that, Trump is blackmailed with the Epstein files and they got all sorts of dirt on him, and I'm sure we don't know the half of it at this point. It makes me think that they have something really, really dark and disgusting and disturbing on Keir Starmer. Because this is like, on top of being stupid and wrong, it's also kind of humiliating. So anyway, solidarity with Hasan, solidarity with Cenk. I genuinely find this crazy. And I'm, me and Chrysler are looking at each other like, I guess we're banned from there too, probably. Like if we were to try to go, it'd probably be the same shit, right? Maybe we're fortunate enough because there hasn't been as many negative headlines about us, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Give maybe a year or two more before there's just as many like outrage headlines about me or you as there is about Hasan,
We gotta get to work.
So yeah, truly. But I would say to Hasan, where does a badge of honor? Where does a badge of honor? This is one of those things that like they write about it in the history books, and they say like, yeah, this is when everybody lost their fucking minds, and they went full authoritarian to protect the world's most depraved genocidal terror rape state that's currently committing multiple genocides and fighting on 7 fronts. So where does a badge of honor? But what a dark, dark world that we live in, man.
All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Happy Monday and happy June to everybody out there. I got a lot for you today, bro. I got a lot for you. So, in just a second, Trump looks like total death, if I'm being honest. Like he's slowly morphing into a hybrid of Miss Doubtfire and a skeleton. So we'll talk about that. We have him spiraling and losing total control, posting, I believe it's over 50 times within a span of like a couple hours. Just crazy stuff going on over there on Lie Social. We also have Trump being checkmated by Iran, as Iran is now blowing up U.S. drones and attacking U.S. air bases in retaliation for U.S. aggression. We also have Israel moving on Lebanon, flattening Beirut, their words, not mine. We have mass panic as you have 700,000 people desperately trying to evacuate as Israel is carpet bombing civilian areas. Nightmare stuff, very reminiscent of exactly what happened in Gaza. We'll also talk about Trump being furious because his Freedom 250 event is collapsing because it's so closely tied in with MAGA and artists want nothing to do with it. We have Graham Plattner engulfed in a sexting scandal. I'll give you all my thoughts on that. And we have the MAGA loser Dave Rubin ending his career in a viral debate humiliation on Jubilee. You do not want to miss that. What's so astonishing to me is his lack of self-awareness. Like, how do you not realize that you're getting bodied over and over by literally everybody who talks to you? And apparently New Jersey is currently a war zone because there's protests outside of an ICE concentration camp and all hell is breaking loose. ICE has effectively declared martial law. New Jersey put into place a curfew. Crazy shit happening, and it's insane to me that mainstream media is barely talking about most of this shit. So you guys know the drill, man. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon that helps out big time and costs you nothing at all. You, of course, can also support the show on Patreon. Even just giving $2 a month goes a very long way in helping the show. Remember, we're real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I never will. You guys support this show from the ground up, and I'm very proud of how we've built our model here. So thank you to everybody who does support the show. You could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. And go sub to Corin's World. We're live every Monday night. So we should have a show tonight as well. And by the way, we're motherfucking Nostradamus in this bitch because Corin and myself both predicted the NBA Finals at the beginning of the playoffs. Spurs versus Knicks, baby. It's happening. It's happening. So let's go ahead and jump right in ski. So let's start with this, bro. Trump is crashing out over on Lie Social, and I'm going to show you what he looks like, what he's been up to as the economy is crumbling, as his war is spiraling out of control. He can't help himself. He continues to golf on a regular basis. When he's not getting surprise medical procedures and lying about them, he's out somewhere on a Trump golf course lying and saying that he shot even par. But now he physically looks like he's deteriorated, and it's very clear that he's not sleeping at night, and he's falling asleep during the day in meetings, okay? But when I say it's an earth-shattering fucking posting spree that he just engaged in, I mean it. As you all know, there's this guy by the name, quarterback of the New York Giants by the name of Jackson Dart, apparently Southern boy, and he decided, I want to introduce Trump at his rally when Trump recently did a rally in New Jersey, which, by the way, reports are virtually nobody was there. So further proof that MAGA has collapsed around us. Nobody showed up to this fucking thing, okay? But this guy introduces Trump, and everybody called it at the second he did it. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to ruin the chemistry in the locker room. Because I don't know if you know this, the NFL has a lot of young people, has a lot of black people, and demographically speaking, young people lean very left, black people lean very left. Here you are introducing the war criminal, pedophile, rapist, con man president. This isn't going to fly, bro. This is not going to go over well. True to form, stories came out like, oh yeah, his teammates are furious. And some even went out on the record and said like, not cool, right? And we need to rebuild trust. And, you know, that you shouldn't be this overtly political if you're a quarterback of a team. It became a big deal. So naturally, Trump decides to rub salt in the wound and make it worse and spit in everybody's eye. So Trump comes out and says the following: "Thank you, Jackson. It was great being with you. I know you're taking some heat from the radical left lunatics who are jealous of you, me, and everyone who surrounds us. But I also know that your jersey also went to #1 and you're making millions of dollars. So you are a winner. They are all losers. See you in the White House, President DJT." Objectively making the situation worse, making his teammates trust him less, leading to more strife in the locker room, and like I said, rubbing salt in the wound. Okay. He also posted this: the Trump Peace Prize. As the guy starts like 8 new wars, as the guy goes on a murder spree, bombing boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific. We'll do another story on that tomorrow, by the way, because it's getting worse. As nobody's paying attention, nobody's talking about it, that situation is getting worse. There's more extrajudicial murders every single day, okay? But as he's doing that, he's bombing Nigeria, he's bombing Ecuador, which nobody knows about, nobody talks about. He started shit with Yemen, bombing Iran, did regime change in Venezuela, now about to do regime change in Cuba, backing Israel as they do a genocide. The list goes on and on. As he starts multiple new illegal wars of aggression, he's posting the Trump Peace Prize, which would be, anybody who got that, if it were to exist, should be absolutely fucking ashamed of themselves. Because what does that mean? Who would win it? Attila the Hun? Who'd win it? Genghis Khan? Who'd win it? Fucking Mussolini? What are you talking about? You are the last person who can and should have a peace prize. That's like giving Dick Cheney a firearms safety award or something like that. What are we talking about? But he's not done. He continues. We also have this one: the 5 stages of Trump derangement syndrome. And it shows Rosie O'Donnell through the years as she's getting older. Then the last one is obviously just totally digitally manipulated to make her look like she doesn't look at all. And all these years later, this is what I keep telling you guys. This man is deplorable. This man is loathsome. Because all these years later, he's still liable in the middle of the night to take a shot at Rosie O'Donnell over a feud from like 1999. He's liable to tweet about how, Bette Midler is washed up because Bette Midler said something bad about him in 2007. Like, this is where we're at. And this guy's brain is not functioning well because one of the hallmarks of slowly losing your cognitive abilities is that you tend to perpetually live in the past, and you can remember details of stories from the past, but you can't remember anything from recent times. And he has shown that over and over again. You're tweeting about Rosie O'Donnell, who doesn't even live in this fucking country anymore. You're tweeting about her in the year of our Lord 2026. Are you kidding me? And by the way, she looks 1,000 times better than you do. As I said, Donald Trump is slowly becoming a mix of Miss Doubtfire and a skeleton. His skin is like melting off his body as we speak. His hands are rotting away. He's lying over and over about his cognitive state. He's lying about the rash on his neck. He's lying about all these health problems. His fat, giant ankles, which are a sign of congestive heart failure. Okay? Let me give you more. So he also posted this. Him dunking on Kathy Hochul. Like, what are you even supposed to say to this? The president of the United States of America is posting him dunking on Kathy Hochul. This motherfucker that I mentioned, he wants to go to a New York Knicks finals game in Madison Square Garden. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? As a Knicks fan, we've been waiting for this day forever. I'm 38 years old. Last time the Knicks were anywhere close to this was 1999, okay? I was younger than my son now is at the time. Like, we've been waiting for this forever. You're going to ruin this shit and make it all about you and make everybody go through enhanced security and get your fucking fat ass in there and fuck everything up, just like he fucked everything up when he went to the finals of the U.S. Open. Remember that? The tennis U.S. Open? He went there and fucked everything up. Enough. Stop making yourself the center of every fucking story. These people paid ridiculous ticket prices to even get in MSG. Like, the cheapest prices are like $3,300 in the fucking nosebleeds, right? And you're going to go in there and ruin the whole thing. And by the way, most of the players on the Knicks, if not all of them, fucking despise you. They hate you, okay? Jalen Brunson is a good fucking person. Josh Hart is on the record as hating Donald Trump. Fuck you. Stay away. We don't want you here. Stay the fuck away. All right, let me give you more. Here we have Trump posting the Obama Presidential Library, and it's just a giant garbage can. There are few things that are guaranteed in this world. People say death and taxes are the two main things. Another thing is Donald Trump being incredibly jealous of Barack Obama, because Barack Obama was everything that he can never be. Barack Obama actually solved the issue of Iran and delivered something which was phenomenal. Donald Trump fucked everything up, ripped up the peace agreement, got us into an illegal war of aggression, crashing the global economy, all because he's Netanyahu's little cuck boy. Barack Obama solved this. Trump destroyed this. Barack Obama solved Cuba. Trump is now destroying that as well. Barack Obama gave millions of people health care, albeit in a way that wasn't my favorite. I prefer single-payer Medicare for all, not, the system that we ended up getting with Obamacare, where you have to buy from private companies. But he did get millions of people health care. Trump stripped health care from millions of people. And so he's perpetually jealous, and that's why he always posts shit like this. Okay, more. We have Trump posting, "Get in, loser, we're going losing," and it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's Thomas Massey, it's Candace Owens, it's Lauren Boebert, it's Tucker Carlson, and it's Rand Paul. This is supposed to be ha-ha, he-he funny because of Trump. Trump clearly goes after everybody who dissents even 1% from the MAGA line. He's like, I will ruin your life if you disagree with me 1%. I'll ruin your life if you disagree with me 0.1%. That's who this man is. Well, as Midas Touch points out here, every single one of the people that he posted here supported the release of the Epstein files. And that's why he's going after them. What he's saying is, you want to expose the cabal of child sex traffickers, and I want to protect them. Therefore, you're out. Therefore, you're public enemy number one. Therefore, I'm going to make my cult turn on you, and the cult did indeed turn on them. How loathsome, how disgusting is this? That this man is rubbing it in that, hey, here's other former MAGA figures whose only disagreement with me was don't launch an illegal war against Iran and please take down the child sex trafficking network. Well, how dare you say that? Now you need to be a warmonger. Now you need to be in favor of Fredophilia. Why? Because I say so. Because I'm the boss. That's how this man functions. Okay, I don't even know what this is. Here's Trump with a bunch of fighter jets behind him, with an old-timey ship and a new-timey ship. It says you're getting discombobulated, and he's standing there wearing like a mix of a Roman vest with Revolutionary War era jacket. Like, I don't even think he knows what this is. He's just posting AI slop. I swear to God, man, this man's brain is figgy pudding. It is melting out of his ears. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea whether or not he's coming or going. He also posted himself on Mount Rushmore. Something that, by the way, I went to his Lie Social account last night and started scrolling through to look at everything. He did this multiple times. There's pictures of him with George Washington, AI slop nonsense. There's multiple pictures of him on Mount Rushmore. There's multiple pictures of him saying, "Hello, Greenland." Of course, Greenland is now furious with us. Denmark is furious with us. Europe and NATO are now furious with us because we're supposed to be their ally, and Trump has repeatedly threatened to steal Greenland, to take all of Greenland. He's repeatedly threatened to do that. Repeatedly. What do you call that when we launch illegal wars against our adversaries, but also threaten it against our allies and alienate ourselves from the rest of the world over and over and over? And now, literally, the most narcissistic man to ever exist, when in the midst of destroying everything, he's posting about putting his face on a $250 bill. He's posting about himself on Mount Rushmore. He's trying to build the Arc de Trump. He's trying to build the Epstein Memorial Ballroom. He got his name on an airport in Florida, which is something he fucking loves, and that seems to be shit like this is the only shit that he cares about. I think it's fair to say, and I don't think this is an exaggeration or hyperbolic, even in the slightest, he is actually the most narcissistic man to ever exist in all of history, because he is fundamentally incapable of recognizing how other people view him and adjusting to try to make himself appear more reasonable. He can't do it. Now, all the brakes are off the car, especially since, like I said, I think he's got Alzheimer's, and he went from a low-filter guy to a no-filter guy, and this is the result. Up at all hours of the night, tweeting about his face on Mount Rushmore. Okay, but it gets worse. So as I told you guys, Trump, in the midst of the economy collapsing, being totally unable to get a deal with Iran, the war spiraling out of control, the murder spree he's going on, and Hegseth is going on in the Caribbean, the list of inflation out of control, unemployment out of control, people struggling all over the place, the fucking White House being torn to shreds for this shitty UFC fight on the lawn, the destruction of the East Wing, got all this shit going on. What's he doing? He goes and he golfs. And look at this. Look at this picture of him on the way to the golf course. You can't make this shit up. Look at this. Look at his face. Look at his face. You're telling me this man isn't dying? I've never seen a clearer case of somebody slowly losing their grip on consciousness. I mean, this is crazy. Look at this. His eyes are like 50% shut. His skin is drooping off his face. He looks, like I said, like a mix between a skeleton and Miss Doubtfire. Okay, ready for this? I love this comparison. Somebody said, Trump is rapidly approaching British royal territory. Remember this picture? Didn't this guy die like 7 minutes after this picture was taken? I'm exaggerating. But didn't he die like soon thereafter this picture was taken? He is rapidly approaching that, without a doubt. All right. Then Trump was doing an interview with Fox News, and listen to what he says here.
Their military, we've sort of left it alone because we think that their military is somewhat moderate. They have other people that aren't moderate. We've taken them out. We've taken different forms of leadership out. We've actually left their military alone. People would be surprised to hear that.
So he's saying, I didn't attack their military. I left Iran's military alone. Ready? President Trump in April. The United States has completely destroyed Iran's military. So now he's saying, we actually left their military alone. That's what I want to do. I left their military alone. In April, he says, the United States has completely destroyed Iran's military. How many times has he gone out there and said, they have no more Navy. We destroyed their Navy. Their Navy's at the bottom of the ocean. They have no more airplanes. We destroyed their entire Air Force. We destroyed everything about. Back and forth from, I destroyed their military to actually their military is fine because I wanted to leave their military alone. No, I'm like, how can this guy remain in office? I genuinely and sincerely mean that. I'm telling you guys, there's going to come a day where we learn about the massive, colossal cover-up that's going on to basically hide the fact that this man has serious cognitive problems, serious mental problems, serious physical problems. There's an army of doctors around him, clearly pumping him full of God knows what medicine, all hours of the day, all hours of the night, in a desperate attempt to keep him alive as a man who cannot think clearly, cannot think straight, cannot help but contradict himself, makes earth-shattering, destructive decisions on a regular basis, and all of his little fucking loyal sycophants around him support him every step of the way. Again, it is incredible what we're witnessing here. All right, more. So Trump says, Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us. But don't the Democrats and various seemingly unpatriotic Republicans understand that it is much tougher for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political haps keep negatively chirping at levels never seen before, over and over again, that I should move faster or move slower or go to war or not go to war or whatever. Just sit back and relax. It will all work out well in the end. So the most ironic post of all time, because the thing that he's describing other people do is what he does. He's the one who, when there actually are conversations going on with Iran, with diplomats behind the scenes, he's the one who starts saying, I'm going to bomb everything, I'm going to blow up everything, I'm not in the mood to make a deal, I don't want to make a deal, fuck your deal. He'll interject, he'll change his mind, he'll flip-flop 7 times in the course of 3 days, and he will blow up the deal. In fact, it got so bad that the U.S. government had to say to Iran in back channels, listen, I need you to ignore whatever the fuck Trump says on Lie Social. Ignore it. Because that's all for public, domestic media consumption. That's all for theater. So ignore what Trump says. Just talk to us. We'll make a deal. We'll hold that bitch up. We'll hold up our end of the bargain. But you have to ignore what the president of the United States is saying. So here he is saying, why is everybody messing up my deal? I'm trying to work my magic here. What are you talking about? You're the problem. You're the problem. Oh, my days. Then he starts bragging about taking a fourth dementia test. The results of my physical examination taken at Walter Reed Military Medical Center and just released were extremely good. Unlike other U.S. presidents, none of whom have ever taken an approved high-difficulty cognitive test, I scored a perfect 30 out of 30, considered extreme intelligence. Are the Democrats really surprised? In fact, this is my fourth such test. All perfect. Or 120 correct answers out of 120 questions. It is very rare that anyone gets a perfect score, especially when achieved 4 times in a row. All people running for president and vice president should be forced to take high difficulty cognitive tests. Congress and the Democrats should demand it. This is telling on yourself to the max. Because nobody is given the dementia test 4 times unless they're pretty fucking certain there's a problem. No shit. And I guarantee you, he's lying. He's lying about the results of this test. Who was it that said? Somebody was saying one of the parts of this test is to draw a clock from memory. There is a 0% chance Donald Trump was able to do that. Zero. None whatsoever. He's lying. But what's clear is they keep giving him some sort of cognitive test because they realize something's off here, something's bad here, something's wrong here. And I mean, that should be obvious to everybody with a functioning brain at this point. Then he starts posting about turning the White House into a massive drone port. So he says the drone port at the White House ballroom will be perhaps the most sophisticated anywhere in the world. It will safeguard our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., long into the future. And then he goes after the judge who's trying to block the Epstein Memorial Ballroom because the judge actually gives a shit about the law. But look, if I zoom in here, look at this. This is what he's posting. And, you know, we had on Crystal Kyle and Friends the other week, Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who's an expert in authoritarianism. And she says that this is like late stage, like terminal authoritarianism moment where now he's turning inward. Now he realizes, all right, the public hates me. My whole project is falling apart. I'm a fucking mess here. I can't keep it together. My lies are now endless. And so now it's like, well, I need to find a way to, to feel protected, to feel safe, to feel less insecure. So what does he do? Builds the ballroom, talks about this massive, basically doomsday bunker and complex underneath the ballroom where he keeps saying, there's going to be a military hospital with all the doctors right there. They're going to be right there. Why would he talk about needing the military doctors with a massive hospital right there where he plans to spend his time? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because he knows his health is failing him. And now it's like, I'm also going to be protected from anybody who tries to stop me from staying in office for a third term because I'll have my drone port right on top and I'll just... By the way, why would you need drones in the middle of Washington, D.C.? Who are you going to use these drones against? Are they supposed to go from Washington, D.C. all the way to fucking Iran or somewhere? No. This is for when they try to steal another election to stop anybody from protesting outside the White House or potentially making Trump feel threatened in the slightest. They will go and drone your ass. And if you think, well, they would never do a thing like that. Oh, yeah? Tell that to the over 200 fishermen who were murdered in the Caribbean and the Pacific because Pete Kegsbreth, the Secretary of War Crimes, and Donald Trump decided we're just going to murder people now on the high seas with no evidence whatsoever of any wrongdoing. So this is terrifying, terrifying stuff. Again, he's letting it all hang out in a way where you never could have imagined this in the past. All right. Then Trump yet again is out there just broadcasting and highlighting his cognitive decline. Listen to this.
As I take the word dumb, take the B off because most people don't know that, dumb ends with a B, but most people don't know. And all I do is I switch the E with a U, and you have a Democrat. And I came up with that by watching Hakeem Jeffries because he's a dumb person. And I said, he's really dumb. I said, wait a minute, he's a Democrat. So I think it works. I don't know that it's going to be as good as Pocahontas or fake news or so many of the others that we've come up with. But, I'm going to just call them Democrats because I don't understand how they can be so stupid.
My God, man. I can't. Also, by the way, Fox News has his daughter-in-law interviewing him. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you're going to get the truth. You're going to get a real straight-shooting interview there. You're going to have real hard-hitting journalistic questions. What a sick joke. Guys, do you understand that when somebody starts playing with words like that and saying stuff... He did this the other day. He goes, we got him on the high seas. And when I say seas, I don't mean like sea like S-E-E. I mean sea like S-E-A. It's that kind of sea. A lot of people don't know that. When you start playing with words like that, that is a classic sign of cognitive decline, okay? As I told you, Trump's dad died in his 80s with Alzheimer's. Because of that, Trump's risk is 3 to 15 times higher than your average person. Alzheimer's runs in his family, okay? His nephew says he saw signs a long time ago in Trump that he was dealing with it. His hand being bruised, that's from injections. Well, what could be the injection? Well, one of the things is Leqembi. He disappears every 2 to 3 weeks. He gets these injections. Well, that's the interval that you would put Leqembi into your body, okay? Remember when he got an MRI? Well, one of the things they do, because when you get Leqembi, a side effect is brain bleeds. And they need to MRI your brain to make sure your brain isn't bleeding when you're getting the injections. And that's an early Alzheimer's drug. A lot of the things line up, man. The first thing to go when you have Alzheimer's is impulse control. You have behavioral disinhibition. Like, oh, I don't know, screaming quiet piggy at a journalist, screaming you're a stupid person at a journalist, or, stopping your town hall event when you're on the campaign trail to DJ and sway back and forth to Ave Maria. The playing with words. There's this thing called phonemic or phonemic paraphasia, okay? And what that is you flip a word, like you flip the inside of a word. So instead of saying like telephone, you say teflon. That's one example, but you could do it with any words. And that's a great sign of cognitive decline. And what's with Trump and his new obsession with like, oh, dumb is spelled with a B. A lot of people don't know that. C is spelled S-E-A. A lot of people don't know that. It's because he's going through these things, okay? Confabulation, honest lying, that's another thing that he does all the time. A decline in verbal complexity, repetition and fixation, sundowning, gait abnormalities, all these things. He's showing every single symptom of this, man. And his doctors are covering up. And his cabinet is covering all of this up, that they know he's not all there. All right, another great example of the old noggin not working anymore. Here Trump is accidentally saying we shouldn't have ever been in Iran.
Then you have a country that's, for 40 years can never rebuild. You look at what happened with Iraq. We did so bad. That was such a foolish thing, what we did. Shouldn't have been there in the first place, by the way. And shouldn't have been in Iran. But Iran has the capability.
Shouldn't have been in Iran. That is the ultimate Freudian slip if I've ever seen one in my life. Shouldn't have been in Iran. The thing I started completely illegally? All right, how about this? Fox News caught red-handed trying to protect Trump by cutting out stuff that, could be horrific, by cutting out stuff that, could open themselves to liability, for example, to lawsuits. So let me play this for you. Take note of the hard cut that's in this clip.
To really be great, you need a fair media, and we don't have a fair media. I mean, that's all they can do is lie.
Well, that's
they
the
have
Democrats.
No policy.
They have nothing.
What'd you cut out there? What did you cut out there? What was said that Fox News felt the need, man, we cannot run this?
For our country. And, to really be great, you need a fair media, and we don't have a fair media. I mean, that's all they can do is lie.
Well, that's
they
the
have
Democrats.
No policy.
They have nothing.
What's in there? Remember, guys, Trump sued CBS and 60 Minutes for editing a Kamala Harris interview. Trump sued a bunch of media outlets for saying stuff he didn't like. Now, here they are protecting his ass. Nobody's even talking about it. Nobody's saying shit about it. And then finally, I want to end you with this. In the midst of all this going on, Trump is taking L after L after L. Reuters says, U.S. judge orders Trump administration to remove the president's name from the Kennedy Center building. So it can no longer be the Trump Kennedy Center. Why? They didn't go through the proper legal process. He just threw his name right on that bitch. And now the court system is catching up to his illegality. But we'll see what happens, because as you all know, they've blown off dozens of court orders already. And the fact of the matter is, unless and until you actually start holding these motherfuckers accountable, they will continue to blow off court orders. So I think it's time to wake up. I think it's time to act accordingly. But at the very least, now you can see the system is trying to catch up with this rampant illegality and massive crime spree. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. One of the things that I've warned you about with the Trump regime is their fake ceasefires. Now, I remember pulling my hair out and feeling like I was going insane when Trump and Netanyahu announced a ceasefire with Gaza. And I'm not kidding when I say, literally within 24 hours of the thing being signed, it was apparent that it was total bullshit. It was complete horseshit. Israel continues to bomb Gaza with impunity. Israel continues to view a ceasefire as you cease, we fire. Okay, and Trump provided Israel the diplomatic cover, gave them this like head fake of a win, where every media outlet was, oh, ceasefire, 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 ceasefire. Then immediately they go right back to business as usual, where they mow the lawn, namely continue to massacre innocent people over and over again. So, but Trump has a track record of this as well. He has a track record of using diplomacy to commit war crimes and do atrocities, right? This is what happened with Qasem Soleimani, the top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS, who Trump set up a negotiation with him, and then we murdered him. Okay, this is what we've done. We've done it time and time and time again. Israel has done it time and time and time again. Well, guess what? This so-called ceasefire with Iran is no such thing. Take a look at this. U.S. Central Command has announced that over the weekend, it carried out several self-defense strikes on Iranian air defenses, radar, command and control sites, and one-way attack drones in Goruk, Iran, and Keshem Island. The strikes, which occurred Saturday and Sunday, were in response to recent aggressive actions by Iran to include the shoot-down of a U.S. MQ-1 Predator that was operating over the international waters of the Persian Gulf. So during the so-called ceasefire, the U.S. decides, let's just go bomb their air defenses and their radar and their command and control sites and their drones. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that would be not a ceasefire. That would be the opposite of a ceasefire. That would be a war. That would be you continuing the war. That's what that is. Okay? Well, lo and behold, listen to this. So, in the Financial Times, quote, the dominant view shared across the political spectrum in Tehran is that, given Trump's record, the promise of diplomacy could actually raise the threat of war. In other words, what they're saying is, we don't believe him. He says he wants peace. We don't fucking believe him. They say Washington's seemingly generous concessions are interpreted as too good to be true. So in other words, when Trump says, yeah, let's make a deal, and the deal includes like paying reparations to Iran, the deal includes shutting down all the military bases in the region, they go, we know you're not going to fucking do that. You're not going to agree to that. When the deal includes, we continue to tax people to use the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's like, the U.S. upfront is agreeing to that. We know that they're not actually going to agree to that. So they continue here. Tehran suspects that the U.S. seeks not a lasting peace, but a free hand to keep Iran isolated and weak, checking its nuclear and missile activities periodically, mowing the lawn, right? Continuing to bomb them whenever they want. Faced with such a prospect, deterrence is all that matters. Iranian leaders talk of control of the Strait of Hormuz and maintaining Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium as the key to deterrence. In other words, they know, hey, we need to actually get a nuke in order to deter these illegal attacks from Israel and the U.S. They believe any durable deal that includes economic compensation for war damage and lasting sanctions relief would hinge on these two issues. The U.S. is demanding that Iran concede on both. This makes striking a lasting deal highly unlikely. So as Iran is saying, we don't even trust that these motherfuckers want to make peace. They don't want to make peace. They have no interest in peace whatsoever. As Iran is saying that, the U.S. starts bombing Iran, proving Iran 100% correct. All right, but I got more. Ready? IRGC-affiliated Tasnim News says that the telecommunications tower on Sirik Island was targeted, and in response, the IRGC targeted the air base from which the attack originated. So, the U.S. attacks Iran. Iran immediately counterattacks, y'all. Immediately. Satellite images analyzed by BBC verify that Iranian strikes have damaged at least 20 U.S. military sites across 8 Middle Eastern countries since the war began. The attacks hit air defense systems, surveillance aircraft, fuel depots, and communication infrastructure, causing billions of dollars in damage. Analysts say the strikes appear more precise and extensive than U.S. officials have publicly acknowledged. So their capabilities are far above and beyond what Trump is admitting, what Pete Kegsbreth is admitting, what the U.S. media is admitting, and now we have verification from BBC that that's indeed the case. Ready? Iran counter-struck because the U.S. hit them. Dropsite News says new Iranian missile strike on Kuwaiti airbase injures 5 Americans. An Iranian Fateh 110 ballistic missile struck Ali al-Salem air base in Kuwait, injuring roughly 5 Americans, both active duty personnel and contractors, and destroying at least one MQ-9 Reaper drone worth approximately $30 million, while seriously damaging another, Bloomberg reports. Kuwaiti air defenses intercepted the missile, but falling debris caused the casualties and damage. The Pentagon's previous casualty report for Operation Epic Fury listed 14 Americans killed and 409 injured since the war began February 28th. More on the MQ-9 in the reply, and then Dropsite goes on here to say 2 more drones were reportedly downed in Iran on Friday. So the U.S. attacks Iran, Iran retaliates, blows up 3 U.S. drones, and attacks a U.S. airbase. How's the so-called ceasefire holding, y'all? How's that looking? It's not a ceasefire. Like I said, it's a fake ceasefire. Well, during the fake ceasefire, oh, would you look at this? The U.S. just snatched $1 billion of Iran's crypto wallets in one move. So the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, says, quote, some of them are typing in their wallets right now and have no idea it's already gone. Now, the whole idea of crypto was that, oh, this is decentralized currency. This isn't this isn't centralized, therefore the government can't even get their hands on it, even if they wanted to. That's the way this works. It's a currency which allows much more freedom than a centralized currency. Oh, would you look at that? Turns out that was total horseshit. Turns out that was complete nonsense. And here we are. The U.S. is casually stealing the crypto money of Iranian citizens. And that's the point, too, is like, they don't know if these people have any ties to the government whatsoever. They're just taking crypto from innocent Iranians. Now, in the midst of all this, Iran is supposed to sit, I'm going to sit down and have a negotiation with you. That's what I'm going to sit down and talk to you. We're going to work this out. You're spitting in their eye on a daily basis. You're slapping them across the face on a daily basis. You're attacking them on a daily basis. And now you're stealing their money on a daily basis. And they're supposed to sit there and think, oh yeah, these people are operating in good faith. They just stole grandma's crypto. And I'm supposed to sit here and take them seriously? What a sick joke, bro. What a sick joke. Okay, look at this. Now, the New York Times reported the U.S. military is quietly guiding ships through the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command has helped around 70 commercial ships pass through the strait in the last 3 weeks, an official said. Ladies and gentlemen, this is complete and utter bullshit. This is horseshit. Shame on the New York Times for running this. Shame on the New York Times for being a stenographer to the CIA and the MAGA regime. This is utter nonsense. This is a desperate attempt to try to calm the markets. This is a desperate attempt to try to keep oil prices under control, to avoid the inevitable massive oil shock that's coming, where it's going to be 160 a barrel in short time. Why? Because we're blowing through our strategic reserves. We're almost done with that. When we're done with that, hello, Shock City, baby. Hello, oil prices skyrocketing even more. Hello, work from home orders. Hello, economic catastrophe. Iran is even saying, okay, I guess the American economy is about to collapse because they know you guys need the Strait of Hormuz open, son, and you're not negotiating in good faith. Okay, I guess you're going to actually experience the consequences. So now the Trump regime is lying, go, oh yeah, we've been escorting ships through the whole time, bro. We got 70 of them through. My ass cheeks, you got 70 of them through. Shame on the New York Times for being a stenographer to power. Ready? Then we learn this. Satellite imagery from May 29th. Here's a 252-meter vessel on fire at the entrance to the Strait of Hormuz, with 4 suspected IRGC large speedboats approaching from the Iranian direction and a 5th departing southeast. So in other words, when they actually try to get through the Strait of Hormuz, they get stopped immediately by Iran. The little tricks to manipulate the market, the little tricks to try to keep the price down, they're not working anymore. I just told you guys this in the previous segment, but I have to show you again. Ready? President Trump in April, quote, the United States has completely destroyed Iran's military. President Trump in May, quote, we've actually left their military alone. This is the guy who's making the decisions. This is the guy who's like engaged in negotiations. This is the guy who we're supposed to take seriously. He barely knows where the fuck he is half the time, bro. He's falling asleep in meetings. He's up all night tweeting pictures of his face on Mount Rushmore. And we're supposed to take him seriously when he's doing shit like this? I destroyed their military, but also I didn't want to destroy their military, so I didn't destroy their military. What the fuck? Then Trump says, when I said unconditional surrender, I meant it. Enough of this Jim and Pam back and forth. Iran's cardboard tyrant has 3 hours to leave the country along with his IRGC terrorist leaders who have been killing Americans for 47 years. If that is not done, I will unleash hell, the likes of which have never been seen on the face of the planet. Our great generals will draw inspiration from Sherman, Grant, MacArthur, LeMay, and blah, blah, blah. We will win a total victory against a jihadist terrorist regime that has so much American blood on its hands. Oh my God, they're still calling Iran a jihadist regime. Oh, he knows nothing. He knows less than nothing. Oh my goodness. He probably knows less than Bush did when Bush went into Iraq. He has no idea the difference between Sunni and Shia. Oh my days. The Iranian people will be free and the regime will never have nuclear weapons. Never. Just because this tweet is completely fake and made up by a brilliant and hilarious prankster doesn't mean it couldn't come true in real life. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What the fuck are you saying? Breaking. President Trump says he's in no hurry to make a deal with Iran, and if we don't get what we want, we are going to end it in a different way. Last weekend, President Trump said a deal was going to be announced shortly. Today marks 93 days since the Iran war. I don't know if anybody's done this, but what they should do is go back and just track everything Trump has said on this. From the war's over, we made a deal, to I'm going to destroy them, I'm going to blow them up, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be incredible, it's going to be scary, I'm coming for them. Because I swear to God, in an average week, what does he flip back and forth 6 times? It's about 6 times, right? Something like that. Then you have little Narco Rubio here, and he goes begging to the UN. Yes, that same UN that we told to suck us off when they were like, can Israel please stop committing a genocide in Gaza? It's very obvious. The same UN that's like, hey, what are you doing attacking Iran? They were no threat. Now, Narco Rubio goes to the UN and he says this.
And I think it's a real test for the UN, right? As a function, as something that functions that can solve global problems. What is the purpose of the UN? The UN was supposed to be a place where you could peacefully resolve global conflict. Right now, you have a country who is unlawfully, criminally, and illegally taking possession of an international waterway and blowing up commercial vessels and putting mines in the water.
What can even be said? The complete and utter lack of self-awareness is genuinely earth-shattering. It makes me feel like there is something broken in the brain of the conservative, where they're just functionally incapable of any degree of self-awareness, of any degree of holding themselves to a universal standard. My dude, you launched the illegal war against Iran. You carpet-bombed their little girls' elementary school. You triple-tapped it. You killed a bunch of little girls. You bombed hospitals. You bombed bridges. You bombed roads. You bombed steel plants. You went after civilian infrastructure left and right. You committed war crime after war crime after war crime. And now you have the nerve to say, but what about the law? They're closing the Strait of Hormuz. May I remind you that the law matters? UN, help us. We'll end on this. Breaking. Iran says it is suspending indirect message exchanges with the U.S. over ongoing Israeli military actions in Gaza and Lebanon. Tehran insists talks will not resume unless Israeli operations stop and forces withdraw from occupied areas in Lebanon. Iranian officials also say Iran and allied groups are considering escalating pressure, including potential disruption of key maritime routes such as the Strait of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandab. So, I'm about to do a separate segment on this in a little bit here, but Israel's basically come out and announced, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. We're not only taking all of South Lebanon up to the Litani River, now we're going to flatten Beirut and do to Beirut what we did to Gaza. We're going to steal all of Lebanon and make it ours as part of a greater Israel project. We're about to do that shit right the fuck now, bitch. Watch us. So Israel's coming out and saying that and acting on it. Again, more on that in a little bit. I have horrible pictures and videos and stuff to show you. And Iran's going, you want us to negotiate with you in good faith when one of our demands was you need to stop invading and stealing Lebanon and you're doing it right in front of our fucking face? Fuck you. We're not talking. We're not negotiating. We're going to continue to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and we might add another strait in that bitch, the Bab al-Mandab one. Okay? So, your economy is about to be barbecue chicken if you don't get your shit ready, if you don't get everything straight, if you don't actually fix the problem and these wars. Your economy's cooked. Because like I said, we're going to blow through the strategic oil reserve in short order. And when we do, there are no more tricks. There's no more tricks you can do. You can't hide from it. The oil shock will hit in its full effect. And it will be a catastrophe the likes of which we haven't seen in the energy market since the fucking 1970s. And it'll probably be worse than that. So in this moment, it would be nice to not be run by a bunch of fucking baboons. And that's what we are. The Trump regime is packed full of baboon idiots, low IQ freaks. And here we are. This is the result of it. So buckle up, because as bad as it's been, it's about to get a hell of a lot worse.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, guys, so I got to give you these big breaking updates here, but Israel is at it again and is just as bad as it's ever been, if not incredibly worse, because they feel like there's no rules, there's no regulations, there's no international body to check them. They have a complete green light from the U.S., and now they're trying to do to Lebanon exactly what they did to Gaza. So first, let me show you this. Here indeed is what they did to Gaza. Satellite imagery shows Gaza increasingly reshaped as military controls expands entire neighborhoods, farmland, and even cemeteries reportedly erased. This is not just battlefield damage, it reflects long-term territorial transformation on the ground. So here's what Gaza looked like before, okay? This is what it looked like before. Here's what it looks like now. When they say that, you know, about 80 to 85% of the buildings in Gaza have been wiped out, I actually think that's out of date. I think we're at about 95% of the buildings in Gaza have been completely destroyed. And I don't know how anybody on the face of the earth can look at that and not come to the inevitable conclusion that this was purposeful, that this is genocide, this is ethnic cleansing, this is wiping a place off the map, this is land theft, this is remaking everything in the image of Israel, this is making Gaza part of the greater Israel project. Now, I believe on Wikipedia, they're referring to places in Gaza in the past tense, because again, Israel has totally wiped it off the map. I don't know how anybody can look at this and how anybody can defend this. In fact, if you look at this and you're still pro-Israel to any extent whatsoever, I think you're monstrous. I do. I think you're monstrous. I think you're barbaric. Israel, having killed every child, every sheep, every dog and cat, having destroyed every tree, every road, every building in southern Gaza, is now bulldozing the remnants, every gravestone, every sign that anyone ever lived here. It's a Holocaust. I think that's exactly right. Israeli forces occupied Beaufort Castle in southern Lebanon today, the first time the IDF has been there since Israel's full withdrawal in May 2000, 26 years ago. Beaufort Castle sits on a strategic ridge near the Litani River and has deep historical significance for both sides. So here they are. Here's the IDF goons taking this castle. They raised the Israeli flag on Lebanese territory. There's no dispute. There's no argument. There's no other opinion or other side to this. This, without a doubt, is Lebanese territory, and they're raising the Israeli flag in the same way that they stole the Golan Heights from Syria, in the same way that they're doing mission creep in the West Bank and stealing more and more of the West Bank and trying to fully annex and ethnically cleanse the West Bank. And there's pogroms there on a regular basis from Orthodox psychopaths, illegal settler Orthodox psychopaths who assault grandmas and steal houses and then brag about it, okay? That's what's going on in Lebanon, but it's even worse than that because I've been saying on this show that Israel is stealing South Lebanon up until the Litani River. Well, no, now they're expanding beyond the Litani River. So Ben Gvir, this terrorist psychopath, comes out and says he calls for the suburbs of Beirut to be, quote, flattened. He says flatten the suburbs of Beirut. Do to Beirut exactly what was done to Gaza. 700,000 civilians now are, as I talk to you right now, are in the midst of panicking and trying to evacuate and save their lives. They grab whatever gatherings they can in the tiny amount of time they have, hop in a car and try to get the fuck out of Dodge, knowing Israel is about to carpet bomb and level the entire city of Beirut. And nobody's talking about this. The media is not talking about this. The Democrats aren't talking about this. The Republicans certainly aren't talking about this. And if they did, they would talk about it with glee and joy because they're nothing but a terrorist death cult. Okay, they're bloodthirsty, bloodlusting terrorist death cult. But how many innocent people's lives are about to be destroyed? How many innocent people are about to be murdered and displaced? Because the Israeli terrorist rape state is stealing more and more territory right in front of our face and not even bothering to do the bullshit civilizing mission, spreading democracy type of propaganda. They're just saying, yeah, we're going to take it and there's nothing you can do to fucking stop us. And Trump's sitting on the sidelines cheering it on and golfing in Virginia. Are you kidding me? All right, Al Jazeera English says the following. Israel has destroyed Ark Al-Malouk, a beloved landmark resort and restaurant owned by Lebanese chef Hussein Fayyad in Wadi al-Hujr, southern Lebanon. The restaurant became known for providing free meals to displaced families during the war. So Israel is now in the midst of bombing this beautiful resort in Lebanon. This is the guy cooking in the resort. Very high class, high level stuff, you know. And this is after the bombing. May 30th bombing. It's gone now. This is where the resort was. That's what it looked like at the top, and the bottom is what it looks like now. Completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. So they're bombing hospitals. They're bombing resorts. They're going after everything. Al Jazeera confirms the Washington-backed Zionist regime is illegally occupying a staggering 20% of Lebanon, systematically destroying dozens of villages. Over 1 million civilians are displaced as relentless airstrikes devastate major cities. Watch this.
Israeli troops have crossed the Litani River and they're now advancing north. They're now occupying roughly 2,000 square kilometers of Lebanon. That's nearly 20% of the country. And over the past weeks and months, Israel has destroyed dozens of villages in the south. The latest push has brought Israeli forces closer to Nabatiyeh. They've also advanced to Zawtar al-Sharqiyya, that's a town southeast of the city, and also pushed into the village of Shukin. Hezbollah says its fighters confronted Israeli troops here, fighting at a close range. The Israeli military has also issued forced evacuation orders to Shukin and other areas in the district, and forcing people out of their homes. More than 1 million have been displaced. At the same time, these areas have come under relentless Israeli strikes, including Nabatiyah, the city, and the villages and towns in the district.
Absolutely disgusting what we're witnessing here. Again, I want you to think about the lack of coverage this is getting. There's virtually no discussion in mainstream media, in the U.S. about this. Virtually none. And then people get mad at you when you say, hey, the Israel lobby sucks and they should have a lot less power than they do. And they buy U.S. politicians and make it so nobody even talks about this. Nobody even talks about this. Nobody says it. Nobody condemns it. Nobody says, what the fuck are we doing here? What's going on? You're stealing another country? What the fuck is this? All right, look at this. Civilians mass evacuate capital as Netanyahu orders to strike densely populated zones. So Netanyahu said, in response to the repeated and ongoing violations of the ceasefire in Lebanon by the terrorist organization Hezbollah and the attacks against our cities and citizens, I have instructed the IDF, together with Defense Minister Israel Katz, to strike terrorist targets in the Danieh district of Beirut. Look at this. Insane carpet bombings. And then, of course, we have Israel Minister Ben-Gvir flatten Beirut, area of 700,000 civilians. Quote, thank Trump, said Ben-Gvir. Thank Trump. Thank you, my fellow pedophile, rapist, war criminal, for now letting us steal another country, right? We're already in the midst of taking the West Bank. We already destroyed and are stealing Gaza. Now we're going to steal the country of Lebanon, and we'll go beyond after that as well. Okay. Breaking. Israel is dropping white phosphorus bombs on civilian areas in the village of Arnoun, Nabatieh, South Lebanon. These are internationally banned munitions, and Israel is unleashing them against civilians. Look at this.
الأخير في لبنان. دكتور علي، إذن أعود إليك بطرح السؤال. ولا تزال إذن الضربات الإسرائيلية وهو ما تؤكده هذه الصور المباشرة.
They're known for this, y'all. Remember those thermobaric vacuum bombs that they used in Gaza? Also the bombs that were so big and so powerful that the U.S. even didn't use them in Fallujah because they were like, hey, just the existence of these things kills way too many civilians. Israel unleashed that in Gaza. They unleashed the thermobaric vacuum bombs that vaporize you alive. They did that in Gaza. Now they're using white phosphorus in Lebanon. This is not a country that you can negotiate with, that you can talk with, that you can make a deal with. This is a country that needs to be defeated. Do you understand that? We're staring down the barrel of pure evil, the likes of which I was unfamiliar even existed in the modern era until seeing what Israel is capable of. That's where we're at right now. As all that's going on, Korean woman at a humiliation ritual in Israel. Father, forgive the nation of Korea, who has spoken the word against Israel. This is so bizarre. And then again, people come at you when you say, I don't know, man, I think the Israel lobby may have too much power. This is getting kind of weird. Look at this. This is like some cartoon type shit. Watch.
Forgive the nation of Korea who's spoken the word against Israel and people of Israel. God, forgive those evil things done towards people of God. So even the word that was spoken from the government against Israel, I say today, God of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob is God of Korea, God of both South and North Korea. Today I stand here in the Knesset of Israel. I say Korean government will stand with Israel.
More. Israeli Knesset hosted an event where Christian delegations publicly repented on behalf of their nations for insufficient support of Israel. One German cried, Lord, please forgive us for all the things we did that did not support Israel. What the fuck is this? Genuinely, what the fuck is this? At the same time this is going on, look at this. This is in responsible statecraft. Congress quietly moves to integrate U.S. and Israeli militaries in the first step toward shifting aid further into the shadows. The House 2027 NDAA would all but fuse the two countries' armed forces together. At a time when the American public is expressing unprecedented levels of distrust in the Israeli government, Congress just proposed tying the U.S. to the Israeli military more than ever before. Buried in the House's version of the 2027 NDAA, released on Tuesday, is Section 224, entitled United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. The provision would arguably do more to intertwine the U.S. military with the Israeli military than the more than $200 billion inflation-adjusted in military assistance Israel has received from the U.S. since its founding in 1948. Section 224 lays the groundwork for bilateral research and development, co-production of weapons, joint ventures, licensing agreements, and seemingly every manner of U.S.-Israeli military-industrial complex cooperation. The U.S. and Israel already work together heavily on missile defense, but this provision would greatly expand coordination to seemingly every every area of defense, tech, including AI, quantum, autonomous systems, directed energy, cyber, biotech, and many more. It also proposes a network integration and data fusion. In other words, the U.S.'s military data could soon be the Israeli military's data. If fully enacted, this proposal would provide a higher level of military-industrial integration than the U.S. has with any other country in the world. To be sure, the U.S. has worked closely with its NATO partners on co-production and shared supply chains, most notably via the Defense Production Action Plan. And as the number one arms dealer in the world, the U.S. provides weapons to militaries across the globe, but that is mostly a one-way street, with the U.S. providing weapons to foreign buyers who occasionally make parts for the weapons themselves. As in the case of F-35's global supply chain, Section 224 would be a different beast entirely. It would fuse the U.S. and Israeli defense sectors in multiple areas vital to the battlefields of the future, like autonomous systems and cyber. It would also bring extraordinary Israeli influence to the U.S. beyond what it already has through the Israel lobby and its robust network of social media influencers. It would give the Israeli government the opportunity to greatly expand one of the most powerful levers of influence in U.S. politics, jobs in the U.S. By expanding or starting new production facilities like it already has in Mississippi and Arkansas, the Israeli government could boast of providing jobs on U.S. soil, thereby securing allies among members of Congress who represent the districts where those jobs lie. The result could well be a U.S. political system even more susceptible to the whims of an Israeli government that seemingly has no qualms about drawing to the U.S. into military conflicts in the Middle East. This unprecedented level of U.S.-Israeli military integration stands in stark contrast to the traditional aid model of defense cooperation, in which Israel already stood out as the top recipient of U.S. military assistance, as laid out in a recent Quincy Institute brief authored by Stephen Simon. This shift from an aid model to a military integration model has troubling implications. So this is insane what we're talking about here. Look, if I'm being honest, this is treason. This strikes me as utterly treasonous. This is a way for Israel to weasel their way into controlling more and more of the U.S. political system and economic system. That's what this is. In the same way that Peter Thiel and Palantir, they have all these government contracts. They've infiltrated so many different areas of our government. So if somebody comes in and they want to break up with Palantir, it's not as simple as doing that. It would take a long time to sort of untangle all the ways that they've got their claws into the system. This is Israel trying the exact same thing. You're basically fusing the U.S. military and the Israeli military and the U.S. economy and the Israeli economy in a way where it becomes virtually impossible to untangle them when the time comes that the younger generation says, we don't want anything to do with Israel anymore. Because, by the way, make no mistake about it, that is what the younger generation believes. So this is Israel with a last-ditch effort to make it so the U.S. cannot in any way, shape, or form break up with them because it's not possible anymore to break up with them. That's what this is. This is fucking treasonous. Anybody who supports this is committing treason, in my opinion. You are actively turning the U.S. over to a hostile foreign entity, okay? A hostile foreign entity that wants us to fight illegal wars on their behalf, that wants us to murder citizens on their behalf, that wants us to help create a greater Israel, which will become a regional superpower and eventually become a global superpower and dethrone the U.S., although by then I'm sure it wouldn't even be us anymore anyway because China's already surpassing us. But you get the point here. This is fucking treasonous and disturbing shit. As this is going on, ready? Haaretz says, AIPAC is funneling pro-Israel money to candidates and covering its tracks. So this is what you guys need to understand, especially for the upcoming Democratic primary, okay, in 2028 for president. Virtually every Democrat is going to be smart enough to say, I'm not taking AIPAC money. Virtually every Democrat is going to say that. Democrats might even be smart enough to say, I'll criticize the Israel lobby or whatever. But they are smart. They are evolving. So one of the things they've done is they create these like shell groups, and they give them a benign sounding name. Like one of them was like Elect Chicago Women or some shit. And it was Israel lobby money that was funneling into races. Okay. There's another one. I forget the name, but it was something blue, big blue, something to try to make it seem like some generic Democratic PAC. In reality, it was Israel lobby money. And they open up these shell groups and use those to funnel money to their preferred candidates. The other trick they do is they'll run ads, not even mention Israel. They'll try to make arguments that they think the Democratic voting base wants to hear, and they'll make it seem like the more right-wing candidate and the more pro-Israel candidate is actually the more left-wing candidate and the most critical of Israel candidate. And they have all these ways of lying. They have all these ways of covering their tracks. And now everybody's onto it. So everybody needs to be very vigilant and aware. The actual way to cut through all of this BS is very simple. You need to ask all of the candidates, are you in favor of cutting off all the money and all the weapons to Israel and sanctioning Israel for their war crimes and their genocide? Are you in favor of that? If they can't answer that, then you know that one way or another, they are taking Israel lobby money. This is incredibly, incredibly disturbing. But there we have it, man. Israel is completely and utterly unhinged. They're now doing to Lebanon what they did to Gaza. They're doing mission creep and pogroms in the West Bank. They're currently destroying all of Gaza. Trump's so-called board of peace, which is supposed to like rebuild Gaza, none of that money is actually going toward rebuilding Gaza. It's just a total fucking slush fund where Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner steal the money, enrich their AI tech billionaire friends, put a middle finger up to the people of Gaza, the few that remain alive. It is disgusting what we're witnessing. We are living through history in the worst possible way. People will look back at this era and be amazed at the level of evil. Okay, in the same way that we look back at Nazi Germany and we go, holy fucking shit, that's insane. How did that happen? People will look back at us the exact same way and go, what the fuck? How did the world not act? How did people not try to stop this? You have a rogue terrorist state waging a war on 7 fronts and doing multiple genocides and stealing territory. You have the U.S. literally run by a mad king whose brain is melting, starting multiple illegal wars, looting the treasury, and we're all just sitting around like it's nothing. It's definitely not nothing. And it's time to wake up out of this nightmare and actually try to change shit.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So Trump is trying to do this this celebration of 250 years of America, but you know, here's the problem. He's really infusing himself into it way too much, and it's become more of like a fascist pro-dictator rally than an actual neutral, non-political celebration of 250 years of this country. So there was the thing, I think it's called America 250, that Congress passed, which is supposed to be, you know, us celebrating this country and having some get-togethers and some parties or whatever. And then Trump decided we're going to do this Freedom 250 thing. And I guess they also call it the Great American State Fair. Okay? And, they pitched the idea to a bunch of artists and basically said like, oh yes, do you want to come and celebrate 250 years of America on our birthday? It's phenomenal. We'd love to have you. This is a non-political event where we just all celebrate this great country. And so a bunch of people said like, sure, I'll perform there. That makes sense. And don't know how much money they were offered, but a whole bunch of people agreed. Well, guess what? It became very apparent that, no, this was not just a celebration of America. This is actually highly political, and it's like Trump's pet project to sort of the classic thing he does, where he like tries to mix together America with him. Like he tries to conflate it, right? Like the king wants to be the center of attention in every way, shape, and form. That's what he's doing here. So virtually all of the artists immediately dropped out when they realized this was highly, highly political. So look at this. Featured performers. Martina McBride, gone. Young MC, gone. CNC Music Factory, I guess they're still in, although I'm not sure. This is a little bit of an outdated graphic. Vanilla Ice is still in, but Vanilla Ice came out and said, people shouldn't be mad at me because, like, I would perform for Putin in North Korea or Iran. I'd perform for whoever. So everybody relax. Milli Vanilli, the people who never even actually sang and were a hit in, like, the 80s, they agreed and then they dropped out. The Commodores dropped out. Morris Day and The Time dropped out. Flo Rida, somehow Flo Rida is still in, although, again, this is outdated. I don't know if that's still the case. But this is insane shit, man. This is insane shit that we're looking at here. First of all, the people who they chose are washed as hell anyway. Second of all, even they were like, I can't. Let's not do that. I'm like, I can't do this if it's just like a celebration of Trump. So, at the same time, we also have, remember, June 14th, Trump's birthday, UFC fight on the lawn of the White House, okay? Look at this idiocracy ass shit, bro. Look at this picture. This is insane. This is like when, like, the trailer trash type shit where you see, like, there's 4 old cars with weeds growing out of them sitting in the side of the lawn, and you got, like, just a whole garbage heap next to the trailer, and the grass hasn't been cut in 4 weeks, and, like, Trump has now done this to the White House. You got the fucking UFC thing being built, and then you also have the East Wing being totally destroyed, where there's illegal construction currently going on. This is out of this world. What we're witnessing here is out of this world. This is so disgusting in so many ways. I mean, this man has absolutely graped this country over and over and over. And nothing sacred. I mean, this is the people's house, and he destroyed the people's house. This like idiocracy-ass UFC fight on the lawn of the White House. Even Joe Rogan, who of course is a massive Trump cuck and a UFC simp, and he's the announcer for them, even he doesn't like this idea. He says the bugs are going to be crazy. It's going to be too hot outside. This is dangerous for the fighters. We're out in the open in the middle of a fucking illegal war that Trump is waging. Like, this is crazy. This is fucking crazy. But Ready Trump comes out and Trump says, I understand artists are getting the yips having to do with their performance on Wednesday, so I'm thinking about bringing the number one attraction anywhere in the world, the man who gets much larger audiences than Elvis in his prime, and he does so without a guitar, the man who loves our country more than anyone else, and the man who some say is the greatest president in history, the GOAT, Donald J. Trump, to take the place of these highly paid, third-rate artists and give a major speech rallying the country forward like I have done ever since being president. 2 years ago, the United States was dead. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I don't want so-called artists that get paid far too much money who aren't happy. I only want to be surrounded by happy people, smart people, successful people, and people that I know that know how to win. So, by copy of this truth, I am ordering my representatives to look at the feasibility of doing an America is Back rally on Wednesday, Washington, D.C., same time, same location, only great patriots invited. It will be a wild and beautiful celebration of America. So this is the equivalent of like, oh yeah? Well, I didn't want you doing this anyway. I didn't want you coming anyway, bro. How about that? How about that? So you can't fire me. I quit, bro. How about that, bro? Oh my word, this is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. Bro, also, nobody is allowed to refer to themselves as the GOAT, okay? Maybe, if Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Tiger Woods or somebody who actually is undeniably, if they say it, and even then you sort of got to put a little asterisk and be like, hey, I'm in no position to say this, I'm obviously biased. But like, he's calling himself the GOAT as he's in the midst of a crime spree where he's looting the treasury for the Epstein class. He's protecting a cabal of child rapists. He's bombing girls' schools in Iran. Gas is nearly $5 a motherfucking gallon. And he's calling himself the GOAT? Are you insane? The lack of self-awareness is absolutely astounding. So understand, this thing is falling apart. Not only that, listen to how embarrassing this is. So for the UFC fight, they're like, Trump's all about the show. He's all about the optics. He's all about the theater. So for the UFC fight, he's like, oh, we got to make this look cool. So like, let's bring a bunch of soldiers to come and be in the audience. But ready? There's a catch. Here we go. Listen to this.
And on this very issue of optics, Brian Todd is live in Washington near that massive UFC cage, which is on the White House front lawn, that's being built for the UFC fight. It happens to be on Trump's birthday, which is Flag Day, on the 250th birthday of America. And Brian, you're getting some breaking details about the event there. What are you learning?
Right, Aaron, a lot of anticipation for this event on June 14th. Right here on the White House South lawn, these grounds behind me, you can see where they're setting up all the stands. That archway, that temporary arch there is a huge lighting stanchion that's being set up. A lot of anticipation for this event. We're getting new reporting now from our colleagues Zachary Cohen and Josh Campbell that senior Pentagon leaders are making lists of service members who they're going to offer free tickets to this event next month. But according to our sources, the tickets will only be given to service members who meet these new military body composition standards. That's according to sources familiar with the process and military memos that our colleagues Zachary Cohen and Josh Campbell have reviewed. One memo it says that recipients are required to meet new DOW, meaning Department of War standards for waist to height ratio, which is, they say, it should be less than 0.55. Now, broken down, what that means is that for a male service member who's 5'9", the maximum waist size for that person, if they're going to be admitted to this event, would be 37 inches. For a female service member who's 5'4", her maximum waist size should be 35 inches or less if they're going to be admitted to this event. The Cleveland Clinic lists an average male height in the United States of 5'9", average female height of 5'4". Now, according to one defense official, it says this sends a very clear message to any attendees who want to come to this event, who are interested in attending this event, quote, no fatties. Another defense official said senior Pentagon leaders are signaling their preference for military members who will look good on camera. And that person said, again, basically no fat soldiers would be admitted to this event.
Hey, Trump, you're fat. You are a gelatinous beluga whale looking ass bitch. Are you unaware of that? Do you not know that? Like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God. Oh, this is so sad. It's so pathetic. He's so obsessed with optics. But you know what's going to happen? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. This is going to be like the military parade. Remember that? I remember the military parade. I'm sitting there, I'm going, holy shit, this fucking country is so cooked. We're about to have like the most fascist looking shit we've ever seen with a military parade, with, you know, like this is what happens in authoritarian countries, the military parade. We're like, look at all of our weapons, look at all of our missiles, look at our tanks, look at our, we're vicious, we're a fighting force, we're extreme, we're also disciplined. Look at us march in unison perfectly with our perfectly straight backs, and we're goose stepping over here. And then when we saw Trump's military parade, it was the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. You heard, first of all, they were using military equipment from like the fucking 1980s and early 1990s, because they're like, we're not going to bring the equipment that we use now. Like, that's crazy. And so you just heard like, you heard the creaking of the old tanks going down the street going 2.5 miles an hour. It was like, you had the soldiers who were marching. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't want to fucking be there. They're walking on some regular ass shit, waving at the crowd, fucking bad posture and everything. You got these little drone flying by that was just like, little ass drone going. It was like you saw the stands were like totally fucking empty. It was a mess. It was a joke, and this is gonna be the same shit. We've now fully crossed the line into idiocracy. We now live in idiocracy. Donald Trump has ushered in idiocracy. As I've said to you guys many times, the fatal flaw in many people's thinking is believing that we already live in a meritocracy, that the harder you work, the further you go, the cream always rises to the top. Oftentimes, like sports oftentimes works like that, where it's like, yeah, if you work harder and if you're the best, you'll make it to the top. The way the economy works and the way the country works is not like that at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's like the most shameless people who are willing to do the most evil are oftentimes the ones who get ahead. So it's really more like an anti-meritocracy. And that's what Trump proves. That's what he shows. He's fucking President Camacho. That's what he is, right? We're going to have fucking Dust Bowl-like conditions, and we're going to have famine, and he's going to be feeding the plants Brawndo and saying it's what plants crave. That's what's going to happen. So just disturbing stuff here now. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. Even other right-wingers are going, I don't fucking like this. Look at this. This is Matt Walsh comes out and says, I'm actually pretty pissed at how badly they've bungled America 250. First, they tried to invite Milli Vanilli and a bunch of other absurdly washed up geriatric one-hit wonders. Then, when that didn't work, they decided to convert the event into a Trump rally where Trump will talk about himself for 90 minutes. This should have been a massive, vacuous celebration of the country and its 250-year history. Now it will be a political rally identical to the 10 million other ones we've already seen. Well, Matt, what the fuck did you expect? He's going, oh my goodness, it turns out this fascist dictator is acting like a fascist dictator. Turns out the authoritarian is authoritarianing. Turns out, everything's about him. Everything, comes back to his self-obsession, his megalomania, his malignant narcissism. Well, no fucking shit, of course. And this is what happens. He sullied the brand. It's now, somebody said this to me the other day. They were like, I actually think now that being president is not going to be looked at as prestigious as it was prior to Trump. Now it's going to be looked at as like, oh, well, they're all disgusting crooks and criminals and freaks and the worst of the worst. And yes, that's what's happened. We have gangsterified this country. And like the least impressive, most thuggish people are now the ones who run everything, control everything, and they can't help but act in a way where it's always lowest common denominator shit. This is lowest common denominator shit. Y'all motherfuckers couldn't even get Milli Vanilli to lip sync for you in 2026. They're probably getting motherfucking foreclosed on right now. They could use the money, and even they said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and back out of this one, dog. That's where we're at right now. So, what a sick joke. The event is collapsing, and it's all because of him.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You want to.
Here we go again, y'all. Here we go again. So we have another scandal involving Graham Plattner. A bunch of people are working overtime, desperately trying to take this man down. So take a look at this. Maine Democratic Senate frontrunner Graham Plattner engulfed in sex scandal after wife alerts campaign to explicit messages with up to 6 women, okay? So the claim here is that Graham was caught sexting about 6 different women. I'm going to give you some specifics in a second. We have his wife came out and addressed this. He has also come out and addressed this. But let me show you this. So the person who got this information, okay, They were told this in confidence by the wife. The wife went to one of the staffers and said, hey, is this going to hurt Graham? Because, like, I hope it doesn't, and I don't want it to. But there was some infidelity, and there was sexting with up to 6 different women. And the person was basically like, you can trust me with this information. Then immediately went and squealed. Okay? So Morris Katz says, it's no one's fucking business what happened in Graham and Amy's marriage before he was ever a candidate for office. There should be no place in our politics for incompetent, opportunistic operatives who violate privacy, betray trust, and prioritize vengeance over decency. Rebecca Katz says, also, a really special place in hell for the kind of staffer who says to the candidate's wife, you can trust me, and then turns around and tells the world. In fact, look at this. In a statement released by the campaign, Ms. Gertner suggested that she had been betrayed by Ms. McDonald. Gertner is Plattner's wife, okay? Saying she was deeply hurt and bothered by the invasion of our privacy. I confided deeply personal details about my marriage to someone I considered a friend. She said, I trusted this person with the most private chapter of our lives, the early days of our marriage before any campaign was on our mind. Our marriage today is stronger than ever before, she added. I know that the man I married and the husband he has been to me on the best and the worst days of my life, that hasn't changed and it won't. In other words, his wife has forgiven him. His wife has moved on. And a former staffer decided, let me try to take down Plattner by releasing this information anyway, betraying the trust of Plattner's wife. Now, here's his wife, Amy. She came out and she addressed this. Here's what she has to say.
Hey everyone, it's Amy. I wanted to make a statement today and, oh sorry, I'm getting eaten by bugs. I wanted to make a statement today in response to a couple of news articles that are out there about my marriage to Graham. If anybody knows me and Graham personally, you know that we got married in 2023. We live in Sullivan. We've got 2 dogs, and we love each other deeply. So it makes me really angry, disappointed, and I find it really shameful that there's a group of media outlets and people who are willing to spread gossip instead of talking about real issues that Graham is running on, like healthcare and education and childcare. I'm walking up and down my road right now, and this is like my 20th take. This is very hard to do, but I just really wanted to make sure that everyone knows that Graham and I have a great marriage. Being married is hard. Being newly married is hard. Being newly married and going through infertility is hard. Being newly married, going through infertility, and a Senate campaign is hard. I don't even know if I have the right words to describe what we've been going through, but our marriage counselor helps. My personal counselor helps. Graham's personal counselor helps. And we work on our mental health every day. No marriage is perfect, and I don't want a perfect marriage. I want my marriage, and I want to be married to Graham. Sorry, black flies. I knew the man that I married is wonderful and dynamic and probably a genius. I knew the man that I married had been through an immense amount of violent, active combat. And he's been in therapy for years. I admire the fuck out of him. So when there are news articles about our marriage, it's just extra shitty. Can I say that online? I hope I can. It's extra shitty because people in Maine want affordable gas. They want to be able to see their doctor when they're sick. They want to be able to send like their kids to a nice school, a nice daycare facility, and raise families the way that they want to. So I think I'm feeling angry today. And I don't normally make public statements, but it's really important for me to tell all of you out there, especially people who are voting in Maine, that I think it's shameful behavior to spend time and energy and resources on negative ads and negative stories on Graham when all he's trying to do is improve the lives of people who work for a living. And that's it. He doesn't have any other agenda, which is what I think people are trying to dig up. And this is a long video, so I hope my editing team isn't too frustrated with me. I hope that everyone's having a good Saturday. Graham and I really care about the state of Maine. We really love it. We were born and raised here, and I think we deserve better. I think Mainers deserve better.
So that's Graham Plattner's wife addressing it. We also have this. The ex-Plattner aide who publicly leaked this stuff to the New York Times is pulling down $9,000 a month from Jordan Wood, a Maine 2nd District Democrat who has endorsed Plattner. Okay? Well, guess what? She was immediately fired as a result of this. Immediately fired. What Democrat wants working on their campaign? Somebody who is actively looking to undermine you and take you down, right? What Democrat will want to hire somebody who has a track record of undermining and trying to take down people that they worked with, right? Who would want to hire that person? Well, now she's out. Now she's gone. Now, it would be insane for her to work in Democratic politics. Any Democrat who hires her at this point is asking to get all their shit leaked no matter what, right? That's what you're begging for. That's what you're asking for. You ready for this? This is awesome. Ready? So, New York Times put, breaking news, Plattner's past sexual texts had worried his Senate campaign. Okay, they put breaking news. Adam Johnson says, fun fact, the New York Times hasn't had a breaking news headline about a bombing in Gaza, 1,000 killed by U.S. and Israel since October 2025, or Lebanon, 3,400 plus killed by the U.S. and Israel since October 2025. Let's repeat that. October 2025 was the last time they had breaking news about any attack against Gaza as an ongoing genocide is happening there, right? Attack against Lebanon now as an ongoing genocide is happening there. This shows you their priorities, right? Here's the thing. Why is this coming out? Why are they talking about it? I think you all know. I think you're all aware as to why this is coming out about Graham, why they're going after Graham for this. Washington, D.C. is a demonic, satanic, disgusting place. The Republican congressman, former Republican congressman Madison Cawthorn said casually, he's like, yeah, I was invited to orgies like all the fucking time. The Republican would come up to me and be like, you want to come to the orgy tonight? There's all sorts of degeneracy. They're doing all sorts of drugs. They do like the eyes wide shut shit where they wear the masks and everybody fucks each other and they fuck each other's wives and all sorts of wild ass shit goes on there. We know there's a track record. Donald Trump is a pedophile and a rapist. He's had so many sexual assault, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, rape claims against him over the years. There's a literal entire Wikipedia page dedicated to it. 27 different instances. At least 27 different instances. They are covering for a child sex trafficking ring. The entire Republican Party is in cahoots to protect the child sex traffickers. Okay? Who are we kidding? Pedocon theory is a theory like gravity is a theory. Every Republican is actively cheering the carpet bombing of little girl schools in Iran. And I'm supposed to say I'm done with Plattner because he had consensual affairs years ago? I'm supposed to say that's a red line and now I can't support the guy? No, the reality is you and I both know exactly why they're coming after him. Why are they coming after him? Because he says shit like this, which means there's a lot of powerful interests who are trying to take him down. Listen to this.
There's a proposal, which I think is a really good one, which is that we should never tax someone into poverty. That if you're hovering right at the poverty line, that if you have to pay taxes and that now puts you below the poverty line, we shouldn't do that. I agree. I think that's a very, very good and fair idea. We should also still raise taxes on billionaires and corporations. That's how we're going to pull the money back. But it's important to remember, Bezos wants us to think that he's like, look, if you just raise my individual taxes, that money right there isn't going to pay for all the things that you want. Sure, Jeff, that's right. That's why we're not raising it just on you. We're raising it on all 930 billionaires in the United States. It's why we're also not just going after your income, but I think we have to go after the wealth as well. The wealth that they sit on, the wealth that they never actually bring into the real world, so they never pay capital gains on it, but they borrow against it happily so they can have liquidity to go through their lives. Of course, Jeff Bezos is going to tell us that if we raise his taxes, things won't get better. He doesn't want us to raise his taxes. He's a greedy person. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me that he would say that. He's just entirely wrong and self-serving.
This is what happens when you go after powerful interests. This is what happens when you go after billionaires, when you go after the Epstein class, when you go after the Israel lobby, when you go after the military-industrial complex, when you go after the corporations in this country. They're not just going to let you waltz in there. They're not just going to let you get power and actually use your power to crack down on them. They're not going to let it happen. They will try anything and everything. They will destroy you before they will allow you get some power to raise their taxes and give people health care and give people education and end the wars. They just won't allow it. They don't want it, okay? And that's why this is happening. And by the way, I'm sure they're going to dig up more dirt. I'm sure they're going to get more specifics. They might have some direct lines of sexting that went back and forth. Let me say to y'all right now, I don't give a shit. I don't care. You can't make me care. In fact, you have people, ready for this? Nominal liberals, so-called liberals, and I use so-called very specifically here, who are now coming after me for defending Graham. They're saying that, they're anti-Graham. Okay, well, if you're anti-Graham, that means by definition, you're pro-Susan Collins, which means by definition, you're pro-MAGA holding the Senate, which means you're not a Democrat, you're not a liberal, you're certainly not a fucking leftist. What are you? What are you? Are you somebody who's so obsessed with norms and decorum and holding Democrats to a higher standard than Republicans? That's the thing that drives me the most crazy, is that I refuse to live in a world anymore with two different standards. Donald Trump can say and do whatever the fuck he wants all the time, nonstop. Never dings him ever. He's still the most powerful man on earth, right? Like I said, at least 27 different allegations against him. He's in the Epstein files a million times. He's a known pedophile and rapist, okay? And I'm supposed to say, sure, let him get away with that, but Graham had consensual sexting years ago, and that's a red line. I can't, how dare you? Come on, man. What are we, babies? What are we, children? So here's somebody coming after me.
Kyle Kulinski. Graham Plattner could have sexted my mom and I'd still vote for him. And you might be asking yourself, why is Kyle Kulinski tweeting some weirdo shit like this that sounds MAGA adjacent?
How is that MAGA adjacent? To say that Graham could sex my mom and I still vote for him? I don't quite understand. The whole point is we need to defeat MAGA at any and all costs. So I, of course, will support and vote for the person who sexted 6 people. The point is literally the exact opposite. In fact, you're the one who's MAGA adjacent because you're the one who thinks, what, this is such a big deal that now nobody should support Plattner and therefore Susan Collins should win that seat and MAGA should hold the Senate and continue their reign of terrorism and their crime spree across this country? Who's the MAGA adjacent one here? When I'm the one that's saying, let's keep our fucking eye on the ball and make sure Democrats take control?
Because come to find out, Graham Plattner's been sexting multiple women. And this person is married at the end of the day. So Graham Plattner is someone that has a Nazi tattoo, and he's someone that's willing to cheat on his wife. To me, that sounds like someone that's not morally eligible enough to run for Congress.
What does that even mean? You've determined that this person, why? Who are you to determine who can and can't run for Congress? Who are you to determine what the voters do and don't accept? He's up double digits in the fucking polls. Obviously, all these smear hack attacks are not fucking working, and that's what they are. Smear hack attacks. Why is it every time I see Graham Plattner talk, he's talking about raising taxes on the rich. He's talking about raising the minimum wage. He's talking about getting people health care. He's talking about ending the corruption. He's talking about cracking down on MAGA and arresting the criminals. He's talking about packing the Supreme Court. He's talking about getting Democratic wins with leftist policy. But every time I see his critics talk, so, the tattoo, which he covered up, which was a skull and crossbones, which he didn't even realize was a Nazi tattoo. Like, why is it you guys talk about the unserious shit? I always see him talking about the serious shit, but I'm supposed to take you seriously when you're the one talking about the unserious shit. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? For once in these people's lives, can they actually make a policy-based argument? I would love to hear just once give me a policy argument as to why Susan Collins is better than Graham Plattner, right? Or why we should sit this out for whatever sort of highfalutin nonsense reason they come up with. But he's not done yet.
Well, then triple down on Graham Plattner, so it doesn't matter what news or information comes out, they are going to ride or die with Graham Plattner. Now you tell me this. What party, when it comes to saying they will look past anything and they will still vote for him? Last time I checked, that's what MAGA does. And these are the same leftists that call people that vote for the Democratic Party blue MAGA, when they are the ones portraying more and more MAGA traits each and every day.
Let me be clear. The reason that I call centrist Democrats, corporate Democrats, right-wing Democrats, diet MAGA Democrats is, again, because of their stance on policy. If you support Trump's illegal war against Iran, you are a diet MAGA Democrat. If you are cucked to Israel so hard that you support Trump continuing to arm and fund Israel as they do a genocide, you are a diet MAGA Democrat. If you're in favor of all of this big money in politics and representing the Epstein class and the billionaires over the people, you are a diet MAGA Democrat. If you, like John Fetterman, always find a way to twist yourself into a pretzel to defend MAGA, you are a diet MAGA Democrat. How on God's green earth can somebody like this look at us and say somehow we're more like MAGA when the whole point of us taking this hard-nosed, aggressive, take-no-shit stance is to defeat MAGA. And the reason why we want to defeat MAGA is because they're terrorists, and they're fascists, and they're imperialists, and they're bloodthirsty, and they're in a death cult, and they're destroying everybody's rights. They're taking away black voting rights. They're taking away, women's bodily autonomy. They're cutting taxes for the rich. They're waging endless wars. They're looting the treasury and are in the midst of a crime spree and are super serving the Epstein class and raising taxes on regular people and kicking people off Medicaid. And every single one of those things I just named, Graham Plattner is against it, which is why all of us should be supporting Graham Plattner. Every single one of us. Now, if you don't, it is fair to say you support all of those MAGA things. So yes, you guys are more like MAGA than we are. That's just a fact. That is just a fact. Have you ever heard of the saying, fight fire with fire? We've tried it the other way. We've tried it to Michelle Obama. Oh, when they go low, we go high. Turns out that doesn't work. Turns out when you do that, they fucking spit in your eye, slap you across the face, and do what they want and laugh at you and mock you as they do it. It turns out that doesn't work. It turns out what we need to do is crush them at their own game. Because that's what it takes. And if overlooking a sexting scandal is so much that it gets you to run away, I don't know what to tell you. But the fact of the matter is, it's not really about that. Because a lot of these same people are the same ones who were supporting Andrew Cuomo over Zoran Mamdani. Okay? Andrew Cuomo harassed half the women on planet Earth, and they didn't give a fuck. They didn't care at all. So really, it's just an irrational hatred towards Graham Plattner, which is leading to this mindset. Let's keep going.
They are willing to go against their beliefs because these are the same people.
No. Quite the opposite. This is me standing on my beliefs, saying, look, I'll overlook a lot of shit if you're actually going to end the wars, if you're actually going to stand up against the genocidal Israeli terror state, if you're actually going to crack down on the Epstein class and raise taxes on the rich, if you're actually going to get people health care, if you're actually going to get people education, if you're going to raise wages. This is not me betraying my beliefs. This is me standing on my beliefs.
Say they are anti-billionaire, but also will still tell people to vote for Tom Steyer.
Because he's anti-billionaire. Yes, he's a class traitor. FDR was also wealthy. He was a class traitor. If Tom Steyer was a billionaire and he was defending billionaires, I wouldn't fucking support him. If there was a candidate to the left of him, I would support that other candidate. There is no candidate to the left of him in the race. It doesn't exist. That Xavier Becerra guy has taken money now from virtually every single fucking corporation in America. And let me guess, is that who you're supporting? I thought so.
And these are the same people that are saying they are against bigotry, but they are willing to look past a Nazi tattoo just because that person hates Israel enough for their liking. So I say all of this to say it is getting weird, and online leftists like Kyle Kulinski continue to show why they are more MAGA adjacent than anybody.
Well, that was probably one of the most embarrassing videos I've ever seen in my life. So now, if you are willing to do anything and everything to defeat MAGA, you are MAGA. That's how that works. So by being the most against MAGA, you are now MAGA. Is that the argument? Let me understand that correctly. So the only way to defeat MAGA is to, when they go low, we go high, and lay in a chalk outline of ourselves. And every single dumbass smear story they come up with, you immediately have to cave to the bad faith attempt to destroy this man and give them exactly what they want. So in order to defeat MAGA, you need to give MAGA exactly what the fuck they want. Let me be clear, because perhaps I was unclear in my tweet saying he could sex my mom and I'd still support him. Graham Plattner can fuck a toaster. Graham Plattner can shove a pineapple up his ass. Graham Plattner can shove a pineapple up his dick hole for all I care. Graham Plattner can jack off to a cartoon of Scooby-Doo wearing Brian Noam's big-ass titties, and I will crawl over fucking broken glass to support that man. Why? Because he actually wants to end the wars. Because he actually wants to stand up to the Israeli genocidal terror state currently doing multiple genocides. Because he actually wants to crack down on the Epstein class and arrest the criminals and raise taxes on the billionaires and take that money and redistribute it and give people health care, give people education, give people higher wages, give people unions, actually fucking fix this country, end the crime spree of MAGA, and arrest the criminal terrorists inside the Trump regime. If you're willing to do those things, I don't give a fuck what happens in your sex life, bro. Let me say, I do not care at all. And anybody who does, I find you rather unserious. I find you unfit for this moment that we're living in, where fascism is actually taking over the country. It's actually happening. And instead of going after the fascist, you're going after the anti-fascist because of reasons and stuff and things. Well, forgive me, but I find that wholly unconvincing. And by the way, Graham Plattner, go ahead and sex my mom. I don't give a fuck. You want to sex my sister? Go right ahead. You could sext her too. Genuinely don't care.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So it's kind of crazy that this isn't being covered more in the media, but all hell is breaking loose in New Jersey because there's this massive protest outside of one of the ICE concentration camps. And it's been growing more and more by the day. It's now gotten to the point where, the state government is sending thugs to crack down on these protests along with ICE. You have a curfew now being implemented in Jersey. So first, let me show you this. More than 6,300 children have been detained by ICE during President Trump's second term. 97% have no criminal record. Guys, how insane is that? 6,300 children, 97% no criminal record, and ICE is rounding these people up. It becomes even more disturbing when you remember they literally don't give a fuck about due process. They need warrants, but they don't get warrants. So they're arresting whoever they want. The Supreme Court basically said, yes, you can racially profile when it comes to immigration enforcement. This is truly, truly Gestapo-like shit. The way immigrants are being treated is with zero rights. They have no fucking rights. And by the way, if immigrants have no rights, that means none of us have any rights. Because if they take away the constitutional rights of one person, immigrant or not, then everybody's rights are gone. Because all they have to do is just assume you're an immigrant and do whatever the fuck they want to you. Okay, that's where we're at. And of course, there's torture going on. Of course, there's rape going on. These are literally concentration camps is what we're talking about here. Okay, so on the ground in Jersey. Ready for this? Shout out to Status Coup, man. Everybody go subscribe to Status Coup. Jordan Sheridan's doing great work out there. But he's been on the grounds for these protests. And there's been a violent crackdown by the regime. Let's watch some of this. Here we go.
They threw tear gas directly at my foot. The horse literally just hit our camera.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
They did that to us. They did that to us. They did that to us.
Firing tear gas directly at the media.
They targeted us specifically. They just targeted us specifically. They threw it at us.
All right, guys, that was directly at my feet. I know that was intentionally targeted at me.
Now ask yourself, why is the media not covering this? It's that old saying, the revolution won't be televised. That's what this is. The revolution's not being televised.
Don't let go of me. Don't let go. I got it. So they're trying to... This is state-sponsored terrorism. Watch it. Yeah. A horse literally just hit our camera. A horse literally just hit our camera. You okay, John? I'm good. Let's be honest. Protesters are saying, we pay for these streets. They are literally attacking unarmed protesters. What makes them different than ICE? This is a war zone on American streets in Newark, New Jersey. I've been at many war zones across this country. Chicago, Minneapolis, and now New Jersey. And truth to be everywhere. More tear gas. Fuck. Want another flashbang?
Jesus Christ.
Watch it, John, watch it. There's a car, let's go. The governor needs to stand her horses down.
Right now, we are working to make sure we get ICE out of the situation, establish peaceful areas for protesters.
This is making the situation 20 times more unsafe than it was. This is even more unsafe. You see them hitting unarmed protesters. Oh, my God.
That they have the ability to peacefully protest, and that they do so safely.
That was another flashbang grenade, we believe. Look at a journalist in the car. Oh, there's a journalist literally covering this in the safety of her car. That's the difference in status quo and whatever media that is. We are out here under attack with the people.
Insane. We have more stuff here, though. ICE crushes a protester's leg after pushing into mega truck.
Covering what the corporate media covers up. Damn, that didn't even take it straight. No power. Yeah. So it looks like they're using a mix of gas, pepper spray, who knows. John is chronicling right now. I got sprayed in the eye.
So after they were backing off, ICE agents were backing off, and then this guy right here that I'm showing, he pushed forward, started waving his baton at the protesters, and that's what caused them to go into the 18-wheeler.
ICE is moving now. While the truckers go by. Straight. There's a truck.
ICE kicks protester into moving mega truck. Oh no. Oh, his leg. Oh my God, his leg's broken. Oh my word. Look at that. His foot is under the tire of the truck, bro. That shit is sideways, dog. He got shoved in there. Oh my God. Oh, that's a compound fracture.
I'm with you.
These thugs got to be arrested, bro. This is insane. But then again, Renee Nicole Good got murdered, and that person's still free. Alex Preddy got murdered. That person's still free. These ICE Gestapo thugs. I mean, this is insane. They're shoving people into oncoming traffic and getting their leg broken with a compound fracture, and nobody's even talking about it. Nobody's talking about arresting these people. I mean, this is ridiculous. We now have a country where certain people are above the law. Whether it's the Epstein class is completely and utterly above the law, the war criminals are completely and utterly above the law, and these ICE Gestapo thugs, this disgusting paramilitary, this fascist paramilitary, they're above the law. All right, fire burns in the street after New Jersey State Police pushed people away from Delaney Hall. Look at this.
Very toxic fire, you guys.
Shout out to Andrew Mercado. He's the one who got this video here. A woman pleads with New Jersey State Police to allow her through to get medical attention. So apparently her leg was super fucked up also, I believe. Here we go.
The hole will be on our way. We have not obstructed you guys at all.
We don't want any trouble.
And it's not your fault that it's broken.
Let me get this straight.
It wasn't you guys.
You guys opened the door for a MAGA supporter streamer so he can go inside, get medical attention.
Facts.
Which he wasn't even hurt.
Facts.
They were just throwing water bottles at him because he was instigating, he makes the crowd. We have somebody in a wheelchair. Right now, you can visibly see that she's injured, and you can't even escort her to the other side. Who are you protecting? Who? God, to walk around is over 45 minutes.
Can everyone stop talking?
Could you guys
Can everyone stop?
Stop, please.
Let us speak to them, please.
Could we just please just walk right through there with Angela?
Is that what that is for?
We'll all back up.
Everyone else will back up. We will walk right through that hole. I see there's...
It's amazing how it's Everybody would have come on! Don't have the fucking decency!
Did you say that?
Gotta wait for it. Yeah, look. I'm okay. Look, I tried to sort of back on. No, don't give them that. Don't give them that. That's the least they can do.
Jesus Christ. Again, Mercado Media. Shout out to them. Back to status quo. Fascists go home. Anti-ICE protesters chant as Proud Boys run from Delaney Hall ICE prison. Look at this.
You're a coward! I'm a coward. Show your face! You know you're wrong! Show your face! Come on! You know you're wrong! Fucking traitor, motherfucker! Never a traitor. Fuck you! Fuck you! Yeah, we'll remember you. You're no American! You're no American! You're a fucking coward! I don't care. That's right.
So Proud Boys are there to defend the ICE Gestapo thugs and the concentration camp. They are there in defense of the concentration camp where people are getting sick, where people are dying, where people are forced to eat food with mold and worms in it.
Have you been to these protests before? Have you come to the Delaney Hall before? Yeah, I've been here before.
No stallion
Still not done. We also have this one. Status Quo spoke to Trump supporters who, again, showed up in support of the concentration camp. And man, they're really letting it all hang out these days because anybody who's still with MAGA, obviously they're part of the death cult. They're imperialists. They're terrorists. They actively want pain and suffering and harm and damage done to everybody who's not exactly like them. These are wretched, vile, disgusting, putrid people. They barely count as people. Listen to what they're saying here. Watch this.
We need to kill all the mullahs. That's right. Kill everyone. You're not an asylum seeker if you're a stinking Somali and you came here to rob us blind. Biden wasn't president. That was Obama's third term. We just went for 3 terms, 12 years under the gay Kenyan. I'm an elected official. I'm with the Republican Party in Ocean County, and I'm running for re-election. And it doesn't matter who's in the... Those aren't little fuzzy immigrants that want to pick asparagus. There's murderers, rapists, dope dealers.
Calling everybody who's locked up in this ICE concentration camp murderers, criminals, rapists, dope dealers. Meanwhile, we have the statistics. Over 95% of them have no criminal record. Not even a violent crime. No criminal record. You see what I'm talking about? There's no reasoning with these people. There's no reasoning with them.
I remember when I was working as a volunteer for Reagan way back in '84 for his re-election. I was a college student still, and I was obsessed with the Russians and the Chinese. And he set me straight. He said, you don't have to really worry about the Russians and the Chinese. They're gangsters. They're criminals. They're like the mafia. They're communists. He goes, the ones to worry about are these Islamics. Because these are the ones who worship a culture of death.
So, as you are in the MAGA death cult, you're saying Muslims worship a culture of death. Oh my word. Please spare me. Your fucking dear leader regularly threatens nuclear annihilation, regularly bombs innocent fishermen in the Caribbean, regularly attacks a new country every other week. Oh my goodness.
Because they're absolutely evil. They would welcome starting the apocalypse.
That is so ironic because that's exactly what Israel and the U.S. and the evangelical Christians are trying to do. Mike Huckabee, who's the ambassador to Israel, is open about the fact he wants to usher in the end times. They're open about this.
We have been at war with Iran for 47 years, and finally we got a president with a pair of balls big enough to take these bastards on. Exactly. Trump isn't starting a war, he's fucking ending a war. And I hope, and you know, he's given them every chance possible. I am relishing when next week he starts smashing them again. We need to kill all the mullahs. That's right. Kill everyone.
Oh my word. Oh my word. These people live among us. How about this? Over the weekend, the former head of Trump's Border Patrol attended a summit with fascists from around the world who are calling for Weimar solutions, and it for some reason has received almost no press coverage. That's great. That's awesome. The little munchkin guy went over there to goose step and zig high a little bit. And then finally, a generation-defining image. Photo of detainees at Delaney by Ryan Murphy for Reuters. Look at this. You see the shadows of the innocent people locked up in a concentration camp, desperate to get out, starving to death, being tortured, being raped, being abused. You know, you have dozens of people in a small cell, multiple clogged toilets, unsanitary conditions, sickness. You have guards who are just the worst, the scum of the earth. And here you have the barbed wire in front of it. This picture says 1,000 words, and this is just another classic example of that here. What a disturbing image. You're living through history, and not good history. By the way, shout out to Status Quo again. They did a phenomenal job. Everybody keep your eye on what's happening there in Jersey because it's not getting nearly enough coverage, but it is crazy. All hell is breaking loose, and people are now finally fed up with ICE, with these concentration camps, and with the MAGA criminals.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, y'all. So the literal dumbest MAGA pundit in the world decided he was going to sit down on Jubilee and do one of these like 20v1 debates. Probably the single worst career move I've ever seen, because this guy is simply not ready for prime time. He's just not smart enough. He just doesn't have enough information. He clearly did no prep when going into this debate. This is like sincerely hard to watch, man. This is rough, okay? You know, it's sort of a tight race to determine who the dumbest MAGA pundit is. I mean, Tim Pool is definitely up there, but I don't know, man. Dave Rubin, there's just not. He's got a dog's eyes, right? You look in his eyes, and it's just like there's not much going on inside that head, is there? It's pretty apparent. So anyway, what a horrible mistake agreeing to do this. But let's start with this clip here where he gets bodied on the Iran war.
So let's start. Well, first off, the disastrous war, the quote-unquote disastrous war that you're talking about. You're talking about a 40-day military operation that stopped an apocalyptic regime from getting a nuclear bomb.
Look at his face.
And exporting terrorism throughout the world. And we're now in an economic embargo of them, right? We've basically done a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So to say it's a disastrous war,
we've done a blockade.
We did lose. Hang on. We did lose 13. We did lose 13 of our soldiers, and that is
killed over
terrible.
200 children.
But things happen in war, right?
He said we killed over 200 children, and his reaction is, things happen in war. I'm not kidding when I say I immediately had flashbacks to 2014 when Dave Rubin was part of the Young Turks Network, and they had a big debate because at the time, Israel was doing another one of their murderous mow the lawn, killing sprees, and I believe they attacked a school, and Dave defended it. And it was literally the exact same argument of, things happen in war. I'm sure he'd say the exact same thing if Iran attacked one of our elementary schools and killed a bunch of little girls. He'd say, look, bro, I want to be angry, but things happen in war. What are you going to do? See, is what I mean when I say he's not smart, is that, he doesn't realize how stupid that makes him look. That, you don't have a consistent standard. If the shoe was on the other foot, you would obviously say Iran are a bunch of terrorists and they're doing terrorism, but when we do it to them, it somehow doesn't count as terrorism because when we kill your little school children, somehow we're still the good guys, right? We mean well. It was sort of like an oopsie or whatever the fuck. Shut up, get over it. Things happen in war. Oh my days. Imagine that's your family, Dave. Imagine that's your family. Imagine for just a second. He's not capable of doing that.
Killed over 200 children.
But things happen in war, right?
Yeah.
Well, things do happen.
Look at everybody's reaction. They're like, oh my God, what a fucking monster. What a putrid little repulsive monster.
Yeah. You can laugh at that. Hold on. Listen, you want to talk? War is allowed.
Nobody's laughing. They're disgusted, Dave. There's a difference.
Donald Trump wanted to prevent the Islamic Republic of Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. He could have just stuck with the Iran nuclear deal that he ripped up. Iran did not enrich past the 3.67. Wait, they didn't enrich past the 3.67% agreed upon in the JCPOA.
By the way, I just want to point out, shout out to all these people debating Dave, because they actually came prepared and they actually know what they're talking about, right? They're actually giving information, whereas Dave is giving low IQ, fucking fortune cookie MAGA platitudes.
Only got to 60% after Donald Trump left that deal.
I'm impressed with your talking points. You've got impressive talking points and you memorized them well. They're not correct, but I am impressed.
Okay,
first off, the Iranians admitted in the negotiations right before the war started that they were enriching past what they were allowed to. That's number one.
That is a total lie. In fact, quite the opposite. A couple hours before Israel and the U.S., the axis of Epstein, attacked them, a couple hours, they agreed to 0 enriched uranium. So it's literally the opposite. They were like, fine, whatever, your strictest fucking requirements. We'll agree. Just don't illegally attack us. And then we attack them.
Can you agree or verify their claims? It's one thing to say, this is what we're doing, this is what we are agreed to, et cetera. But you have to be able to verify that. And the idea that we have people on the ground or the UN or some third-party organization that can verify what they're actually doing.
The IAEA assessments agree with me. And Tulsi Gabbard, our director of national intelligence, testified in front of Congress last year. And according to the entire intelligence community, Iran did not have a nuclear weapons program.
Okay. That they didn't have a nuclear weapons program. They were enriching.
He literally doesn't even know the basics of this.
Past the point that they were allowed to for civilian use. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But allow me.
But do you understand the weaponization process is different than?
Do you think the Iranian regime before this war, the Iranian regime that has oppressed the people of Iran for 40 years, do you think that was a good regime? Would you say that was a good government? Would you like to live under those people? Were they progressive in any way? Did they hold any of the values that any of?
They're not even progressive, bro. Oh my goodness! Watch, this guy dismantles this dude.
You guys hold.
No, but we don't just start wars on countries whose politics we disagree with. Or who are oppressive to their own people. We were actually an ally to Saudi Arabia.
Exactly, 100%. 100%. We gotta tolerate differences, and I believe in free speech because I'm a classical liberal and stuff, man. He's like, oh, what? You don't want to live under the Iranian regime? That's why we need to murder them. Bitch, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking? That's insane. Obviously, Israel. I don't agree with fucking anything Israel does. I don't agree with anything Saudi Arabia does. What the fuck? Oh, they're bad, therefore kill them and overthrow them? Bro, what are we going to overthrow hundreds of countries? We'd have to overthrow our own country in that scenario. Oh my God. Okay. All right. We're just getting started though, because here he is, yet again, getting absolutely bodied by one of the same guys here who bodied Jordan Peterson to his face. Let's watch.
What is one main metric that Donald Trump has made better off since he got in office? An example would be GDP, unemployment, inflation, etc.
Well, right now, first off, the big beautiful bill was just passed last year and it's kicking in now, right? It's kicking in now. Okay, so we're going to now see results of that, or even the tariffs. All right, so let's do tariffs. Are you for or against tariffs?
Let me just interject real quick to point out. He's asked, hey, name one thing that Trump made better, right? And his reaction is, well, the big beautiful bill's kicking in now, bro. All right, let's go through that. The big bullshit bill adds $4 trillion to the debt and the deficit. It cuts taxes for the rich and raises it on the lower and middle class. It cuts Medicaid $800 billion and kicks 17 million people off health care. It raises out-of-pocket costs. It reduces coverage for poor people and disabled people. It cuts 3 million people, kicks 3 million people off of SNAP, the food stamps program. It cuts free school lunch for kids and free school breakfast for kids. It kicks millions of people off of Obamacare subsidies. So it raises premiums for everybody. It cuts Medicare because it violates PAYGO and leads to a sequester automatically in Medicare. It kills wind and solar projects. It increases pollution. It increases oil and gas drilling on public lands. It defunds Planned Parenthood. It blocks Medicaid trans healthcare. It massively increases ICE Gestapo funding. It increases energy prices in every single state. It gives billions of dollars to the total scam known as the Golden Dome, which is just a slush fund for Epstein-class military-industrial complex billionaires. That's what your big bullshit bill does. Name the part of that that's a win. I'll wait. There is no part of that that's a win. And watch, this. It's going to get even worse. He's going to crumble under the pressure. Here we go.
Now, right? It's kicking in now. Okay, so we're going to now see results of that, like even the tariffs. All right, so let's do tariffs. Are you for or against tariffs?
Against the universal tariff. So what's the main metric that he made better off?
What?
What's the main metric that he made better off? GDP, unemployment, inflation? Do you have any idea?
Listen.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Dave. Oh no. Why would you agree to do this? You're not made for this. Why not just accept that and not humiliate yourself? I genuinely don't get it. It's like when fucking Jordan Peterson went on, clearly in the throes of fucking benzo withdrawal, face red, crying, making no sense, yelling at people. Like, it's not a good look. Whatever fucking sway you still had online, whatever minimal amount, is going to evaporate into nothingness because even MAGA can't spin this as you're owning them with facts and logic. You're literally crumbling.
Do you have any idea?
Listen.
I don't think you do.
Do you think, hold on, so you're arguing that things economically were better under Joe Biden
at the end of his administration, absolutely.
Yeah, so can you give me an example of how?
Yeah, GDP growth was better off, real median wage growth was better off, inflation was better off at the end of his administration, unemployment was better off at the end of his administration. We had the worst year of job growth in the past 4 years, just this last year under Trump's administration. The inflation, 3.8% year over year since Trump got in office. We're seeing all of those economic indicators become worse off. Can you tell me anything that he's done to make it better off? You say it's broken for Democrats. It sounds like it's broken right now under Trump.
Have you looked at the stock market?
It's worse off in terms of growth in 2025 as compared to 2024. If you look at Dow Jones and S&P 500,
they're both up quite a bit right now,
but lower rate,
and doing
growth
quite
rate.
well. You know, things don't happen overnight. So Donald Trump, for example.
Oh no! Oh, this is not going good, Dave. This is not going good, man.
Things don't. That's true. That's true. They're
literally laughing at him. Oh, they're laughing at you, bro.
Reality. There's actual reality. Like you put policies.
You know, there's actual reality. You got to look at like reality and stuff
into place, and they don't just kick in the next day, right?
Well, Donald Trump. A year and a half.
Donald Trump said when the tariffs.
He said in a year, prices would be down 50% for electricity. Are they up right now?
Hold on. Donald Trump, when he brought in.
Listen to what he just said. Trump said in a year be down 50% for electricity. It's now up like, I don't even know how much, 50%, roughly thereabouts. The exact opposite of what he said. Fucking in one ear and out the other for Dave. In one ear and out the other.
The whole idea of tariffs.
Incredible. Absolutely fucking incredible. But now it gets worse because a gay conservative basically ends up defending homophobia here or meekly pushing back against it in the most limp dick way possible. Watch.
I'm a big fan. I've been watching you since like all the way back in the Sam Harris era.
Oh yeah?
And then I remember you
softening me up, okay.
No, you brought on like Stephen Molyneux, like the white nationalist. And I was like, this guy just loves ideas. He just loves all different types of ideas. I love it.
Oh, he's trolling you. I'm in favor of the battlefield of ideas. You know, the dial of ideas was turned to hot lately.
But yeah, just wanted to talk right.
Bro, it's never good when like everybody's in on the joke and he's just sitting there looking distraught.
Now, specifically about the difference between progressive values and the MAGA coalition.
Sure.
It seems to me that all of the ills that are attributed to wokeism are typically things that people find annoying. So people being overly, policey about their pronoun usage or talking about specific groups that might seem extremely marginalized. That's what I typically hear from the right. I don't hear like a degradation of like society unless it's the far theocratic right.
So it's funny, I get called a conservative all the time. I actually happen to be a liberal in the truest sense. In the truest.
Well, actually, I'm a classic liberal. Actually, I'm like the last liberal left because the liberals are completely illiberal. Illiberal. The progressives are illiberal. They hate liberalism. I actually like liberalism.
That's liberal.
You should join
Unfortunate. And progressives are not liberal as a general rule of thought. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I just feel like that type of like annoyance that wokeism presents to the world is a lot less dangerous than like, I don't know, the coalition that you're a part of that like condemns people for having children when they're in gay marriages or says.
Oh, dagger through the heart. Oh. Dave Rubin met all his new right-wing friends, announced that him and his husband were having a kid via surrogacy. All of them instantly were like, this guy's a fucking disgrace. This guy's demonic. This guy is spitting in the eyes of the Lord. This guy is obviously trying to grape those children and groom those children. All of his friends instantly said, you're a predator and you're a disgrace and you should be kicked out of the movement and you shouldn't even be allowed to have kids.
Things like, people that are of particular sexual orientations don't deserve the same equal rights. Would you say that that's something that's dangerous?
A coalition is going to have all sorts of people in it. So
it's like
MAGA, if we were talking
ideological
about
diversity.
Yeah,
right?
if we were talking about what
ideological diversity, like some people say gays should have rights and some people say they shouldn't. That's like diversity, right? Just, it's like diversity to have some people in the movement that say, I think women shouldn't have the right to vote. It's diversity to say, black people shouldn't have the right to vote, right? That's diversity. It's a diversity of opinion to say, I think we should nuke Greenland and steal it, right? That's just diversity. It's a diversity of thought. That's what that is.
MAGA is. What I like about MAGA, actually, is that it's not a specific set of you have to believe this exact set, right?
Tell that to Thomas Massey. Tell that to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Tell that to fucking Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Tell that to all the people who coddled Trump's ball sack for years and years and years. They agreed with him on 99% of issues. But God forbid they say, hey, please release the Epstein files and take down the child sex trafficking cabal of elites. Then, sorry, you're kicked out of the club. Sorry, you're not allowed anymore. Why? Because Donald Trump is one of those sex trafficking elites, is somebody that has a tremendous amount of Epstein dirt on him. So God forbid, Trump said to MTG, you're going to hurt my friends by releasing the Epstein files. That's what Trump said. So it turns out it is a set of ideas. And that set of ideas is whatever the fuck Trump wants in that exact moment. And if you deviate, you're the enemy. Okay? That's what it is.
Right.
You have to believe these exact
some people in MAGA can
things.
believe like gay couples can have kids, and others can believe like that's degeneracy and those people need to be jailed.
Just see what they said about that pedophile couple that are trafficking kids. What was her name again?
Remember, MAGA movement, exactly. This is a MAGA movement. These are Rubin's ideological friends here. Ready?
You're talking about Dave Rubin.
Oh, Dave Rubin. That's it. Yeah, Dave Rubin. Yeah. Coming soon, baby one. Where did they steal this kid from? That's two men.
Well,
two men are gay.
Yeah,
they can't have kids.
it's got to pop out first, and then that's when they snatch them.
Oh, that's when they steal it.
Yeah, that's when they steal it. But that's like plotting a crime right there. So somebody should probably do something about that.
Well,
those are like
the open-minded conservatives with their wide array of ideas allowed inside the tent.
Different ideas.
Actually, the tough answer to that is yes. Do you want to talk about the trans issue?
Oh yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with some people looking me in the face and saying, fuck you, you shouldn't have rights ever.
Sort of broadly, I
I want to talk about the MAGA coalition.
What I can tell you,
individual liberty, yet wants to police the way that people express
what are they
themselves,
doing?
That also wants to police people's bodies, that want to go after people specifically because of their ethnicity.
Right.
None of that should
Okay,
be
so
tolerated.
Donald Trump is in the middle of his second term. Gay marriage is here. It's passed. It's a just
Then
cause.
why
I
are so
believe
many,
in individual rights.
Wait, you're friends with Michael Knowles, right?
Yeah.
So what's that coalition again called? I think it's like Less Equal. That's trying to actually get rid of Obergefell and overturn gay marriage rights.
On every single point, he's just like stepping on a rake and getting hit in the face like he's in a Looney Tunes cartoon. Like it's so brutal. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to watch. By the way, I have not watched the whole thing. I don't plan on watching the whole thing because if I watch the whole thing, is it possible to die from cringe? Because is it possible to die from secondhand embarrassment? Like man, oh my Lord. Oh my word. These conservatives really are something, right? Because they genuinely go into these debates. They don't prep. They don't care. They don't actually have information out there. They think they could just bullshit their way through everything because Trump bullshits his way through everything. You're not Trump. You guys aren't Trump. Dave Rubin, you have the charisma of a dirty diaper, okay? It's like Michael Knowles. When I debated Michael Knowles on Piers Morgan's show, he didn't know basic shit about Venezuela when the whole point of the segment was Venezuela. Like, hey, should we wage this illegal war against Venezuela and kidnap their leader and steal their fucking gold and steal their oil and commit crime after crime after crime? And Michael Knowles is like, yes, I think so. And I asked him a basic question. He didn't know the first fucking thing about Venezuela. He didn't know anything about Venezuela, nothing. And it's like, God grant me the confidence of a conservative about to do a debate having done no prep. Because they walk in there like they're hot shit and then they immediately faceplant. Meanwhile, every single liberal on this panel has 78 facts permanently committed to memory. And he's just sitting there like a deer in headlights, like, I genuinely looked at one point like he just wanted to like get up, shove his chair in, run, and go jump out a window. Like that would hurt less than what he's going through here. So anyway, shout out to all you guys who debated him and humiliated him. Genuinely career-ending humiliation. I mean, this is as bad as it gets, bro.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. So John Ossoff, the senator from Georgia, many people are speculating he probably wants to run for president in 2028. He's certainly moving like that's the case. He gave a speech over the weekend, I guess it was, or maybe it was Friday, I'm not sure. He went inski and just destroyed the Trump regime. So I'm going to show you this in a second. The thing that's kind of amazing to me is, I don't know, man, the video quality almost looks like they invited like Hollywood types there to almost give it the feel of a movie, like give the speech the feel of a movie. It's like very high quality cameras, the different angles, like all this stuff. I haven't quite seen anything like it. So I don't know exactly what team he's got working with him, but this is kind of wild stuff here. So let's take a look. Let's start with, he goes off on Trump's corruption and his whole family's corruption.
While the Financial Times reports, quote, Pete Hegseth's broker looked to buy defense fund before Iran attack. Y'all remember they promised to drain the swamp? Instead, this is the most corrupt administration of all time, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. While Americans pay more and get less, while our insurance premiums skyrocket and hospitals close down services, while American service members are wounded and killed in action, the First Family is raking in billions of dollars. Just listen to this. Last September, the president of Kazakhstan calls Donald Trump and says he wants to grant tungsten mining rights to an American company. And the very next month, Eric and Don Jr. get a stake in the American company pursuing the mining deal. 6 days later, 6 days after Prince Eric and Prince Don get their stake, Kazakhstan announces this company will get, quote, the largest known undeveloped tungsten resource in the world. A few more weeks go by. And then the US government, run by their father, sets aside $1.6 billion of your tax dollars to fund and finance their mining project in Kazakhstan. All this while you pay more for gas, for groceries, for healthcare. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Billions from foreign princes and oligarchs. Sweetheart real estate deals all over the world. Taxpayer funding to Trump-backed companies. And listen, here's the bottom line. If you're involved in any of this, next year you'll be raising your right hand and swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, in front of the United States Congress.
I gotta say, bro, dude's got talent. He carries himself very classy. He carries himself very politician-y, but it's also not like a total ripoff of Obama, like so many others that annoy me, like Josh Shapiro kind of annoys me with his Obama impression. Honestly, Mayor Pete used to. I feel like he's gotten better over the years and he's not doing as much of an Obama impression. But this is like, it's like at first I can kind of see an Obama impression, but then it's like, no, I don't. I just think he's his own person. He's his own person. And I don't know, he kind of has cross-partisan appeal. Now, the only issue he's really going to run into, which to me this is a huge deal, right, is he voted for the Lake and Riley Act, bro, which got rid of due process for immigrants and helped lead to the ICE Gestapo crackdown. So he's going to have a lot to answer for when he's on that debate stage. However, having said that, I do feel like on most issues he's pretty solid. And like I said, I think he's got political talent. So if he's planning on running for president, he's clearly laying the groundwork here. But that was a good-ass takedown. And, bro, why can't everybody say that? Is it really that difficult to say that? All he's doing is taking one example of the Trump family corruption and highlighting it and comparing and contrasting with the fact that Americans now can't afford their gas. Americans are, dealing with inflation when they go to the grocery store. More and more Americans are unemployed. The economy is not doing well at the moment. And it's basic shit, but unfortunately, we don't hear it nearly enough, especially from leading Democrats. Don't even get me started on Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. I think they're a sick joke. All right, more. Here we go.
And we're going to have to work for the next 5 months because the whole country is counting on us again. There is an awful lot at stake. If ever a moment called for checks and balances, this is it. And it's not just the corruption and incompetence. It's this unmistakable project not to lead us, but to rule us as subjects.
Mm-hmm.
The president who once tried to overturn his own defeat now tries to jail elected leaders of the opposition, tries to prosecute Americans who defy or criticize him, tries to seize control of elections nationwide. Freedom is rare. Stretching back beyond the horizon of recorded history, most humans who have ever lived have lived at the mercy of lords and masters and kings. But we're a nation founded on the rejection of kingdom. We're a nation founded on the radical idea that all human beings have a natural right to liberty. Dr. King said of our declaration, quote, "Never before in the history of the world has a socio-political document expressed in such profound, eloquent, and unequivocal language the dignity and worth of human personality." And from those founding ideals, despite our sins, and through courageous struggle, the flame of American freedom has grown brighter and bolder and given hope to the whole world. But in the winds that blow today, that light is flickering. And of all the freedoms hanging in the balance, none is more precious than the right to vote.
Look at the cinematography, bro. This literally looks like it's a Hollywood movie with $100 million budget, right? I mean, look at this.
We see the Voting Rights Act eviscerated, and then like clockwork, as if they'd been lying in wait 61 years since the moment the ink dried from President Johnson's pen. The president's allies set out to remove black elected officials, not by defeating them at the polls, but by manipulating maps to dilute minority power. Do you all see it? The Fulton County raid, the executive order attacking voting, the MAGA loyalists on our state election board, they've made their plans very clear. But Georgia Democrats are prepared to answer with a mobilization so massive and a defense of voting rights so fierce that no plot against the franchise will foil the will of the people.
Too big to rig, baby. He's bringing up too big to rig. All right, still not done, though, because now he goes in on the illegal war against Iran.
This war in Iran is the worst foreign policy blunder since Iraq. And just like the Iraq war, it's a war built on lies. Let's just update the record. On day one of the war, day one, the president said it was running ahead of schedule. On day 10, he said it was very complete. Day 21, getting very close. Day 32, leaving very soon. On day 39, the President of the United States said a whole civilization will die tonight.
Jesus Christ.
And on the next day, day 40, he declared total and complete victory. Day 67, great progress. Day 79, the clock is ticking. Today is day 92. And on day 92, Iran's ballistic missiles and drones have not been destroyed. The Strait of Hormuz, which was open before the war, is still closed. The regime is intact, along with its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. A stockpile Iran only built after President Trump shredded President Obama's Iran deal. You remember that?
Facts. Spitting facts, bro. But I saved the best for last here. Listen to this.
Because he's a failed president and a national disgrace. He promised to bring down prices on day one. Instead, prices are soaring. Ground beef's up 25% since Trump was sworn in. Coffee, 40%. The price of gas, 33%. Groceries, rent, healthcare, and the power bill hit their new all-time highs last month. And while you pay more for everything, Donald Trump wants your tax dollars for what many are calling the Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Ballroom.
Bro, is he watching Secular Talk? Let me find out John Ossoff is watching Secular Talk. John, are you out there? John, you hear me, dog? Bro, he said Epstein Memorial Ballroom. That's my shit. I've been saying that for a while. Now, to be fair, I actually didn't come up with it. But I definitely think I've said it more than anybody else because I say it like almost every day on the show. Holy shit, man. John Ossoff, he's positioning himself, bro. I'm telling you. He's he might make a run in 2028, and he might just be the one. I feel like he's got that sort of appeal where he brings liberals and leftists together. And that's not to say he's going to be great on every policy or I won't have other disagreements with him, but he's fucking talented as hell. And this speech was spot on. Like the substance of his speeches is right up there with the best, right? Like the substance of his speeches is on point. And his whole thing has been anti-corruption, going after Trump for this because it's true. The Epstein class is looting the treasury right in front of our eyes. They're cutting taxes for billionaires. They're giving subsidies to billionaires. We're going to do a story tomorrow on Trump affiliate who's ex-CIA, who was caught stealing $40 million in gold bars that belong to the U.S. government. They are literally looting the government right now. And very few people are actually calling it out directly. So all the Democrats need to get on that John Ossoff tip and start listening to what he's saying and start following what he's saying, because this is spot fucking on. You know, the corruption is just out of control. The warmongering is just out of control. People are fucking sick of it. People are struggling, and it's time to fight back. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to. So yesterday we discussed how both Cenk Uygur and Hasan Piker were heading to the UK to do a South by Southwest event, among many other things, and both of them were informed that actually you're not going to the UK because you've been banned from the UK. Your visa has been revoked, and your visa has been revoked because you criticized Israel. I wish I was kidding. I'm not at all kidding. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. It's a bit of a joke. It's kind of hilarious that the West that likes to suck itself off as believing in freedom and liberty, this is quite literally the exact opposite of that. I don't know anything that could be more egregious than not allowing somebody to travel because they said facts about a genocide, right? Like, that's just insane to me. It really is like the fascism is here. It's just here, right? So I got a whole bunch of updates for you. Cenk broke his silence. Hasan broke his silence. But first, let me show you this. Jeremy Corbyn, who was going to do an interview or some sort of event with Hasan in the UK, he responded to this and said, banning Cenk Uygur and Hasan Piker from entering the UK is an absurd and cowardly decision from an increasingly authoritarian government. Let us call this what it is, an attack on the freedom to criticize Israel, as well as the UK government's own complicity in genocide. That's incredible, man. Corbyn used to be the leader of the Labour Party. Now the Labour Party is led by Keir Starmer. And it was the Labour Party that made this decision, right? Keir Starmer is a total fucking sellout. He's fake Labour, if you will. He's a neoliberal shill and hack. And banning people over criticism of Israel. Absolutely deplorable. How about this? Dropsite says, Fox News accuses Hasan Piker of anti-Semitism for saying, quote, pro-Israel groups lobbied to get him barred from the UK, while it's self-reporting that British Jewish groups lobbied to get him barred from the UK. How fucking pathetic are these little weasels? These little snakes, these little weasels. You're contradicting yourself within your own reporting. You absolute jackasses. By the way, what other reason would there be, right? Like, oh, did they say something mean about Botswana or Madagascar or Burundi? Like, no, like, who are we kidding? Everybody knows exactly what the fuck went on here. This is a sick joke. But now, let me also show you South by Southwest London. They responded, and they immediately threw both Hasan and Cenk under the bus. Look at this. South by Southwest London has released a statement regarding speakers Hasan Piker and Cenk Uygur being barred from entering the UK. Quote, decisions on entry to the UK are a matter for the Home Office and the individuals concerned. South by Southwest London's role is to convene a broad range of diverse voices and perspectives. We remain focused on delivering a program this week, fostering open dialogue and exchange of ideas, and featuring more than 800 speakers, artists, and screenings. Apparently, you're not open to an exchange of ideas, because one of those ideas would be, hey, fuck Israel as they do a genocide, and London, the UK doesn't want that there, and apparently you're cucking yourself to that. Okay, so Hasan came out and said, fuck South by Southwest, never going to work with them ever again because they're throwing me and Cenk under the bus. And he said, if you were going to go there to see me, demand a refund. And I'll say the same thing. You should absolutely demand a refund. What a disgusting little group. That really, you can't stand up for basic freedom of expression. You don't even have to say, oh, you know, you could do the classic, like, while I don't agree with them on everything, I respect their right to say it, and they should be allowed in to share their opinion. They didn't do that. It is amazing how many people become cowardly little freaks in a moment like this, when everybody should be more committed to truth-telling than ever before. So many people and so many groups become cowardly little freaks. And then it makes you wonder, like, how much dirt does the Israel lobby have on all these fucking people? We know Trump is blackmailed by Epstein, who was Mossad. We know Keir Starmer, he probably, fucked a dead whale or something? Remember, was it David Cameron was the former UK prime minister who fucked a pig or something like that, and that came out? Like, they got to have some dirt on these people, because the extent to which they're willing to humiliate themselves for a genocidal terror rape state is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. So Cenk reacted, and listen to what he has to say.
We're allowed to criticize Western governments. We're allowed to criticize our own government. We're allowed to criticize anything we like, except the government of Israel. If you don't think that's insane, there's something wrong with you. You're not getting it. Hi, guys. I just got banned from the United Kingdom. Not joking. I'm not exaggerating. I just got back from the airport, and I was going to get on a flight to go to London. And they said, I'm sorry, sir, there's a problem. I said, what's the problem? They said, you've been banned from the United Kingdom. So that just happened. This is what I was going to the airport in. And they said that the British government has rejected my visa. They did not give an explanation at that time, but we now have the explanation. It was in an article in Times of London, as butchered as that article was, and I'll explain to you why they say that they're banning me and why I'm apparently a danger to the public order. I didn't know I had that kind of power. It's interesting. I walk into the public and people go nuts, apparently.
Also, think about how disrespectful a thing that is to say, because anybody in the UK can log on to YouTube and listen to Cenk or listen to Hasan and, you know, hear the message. And it's like, okay, that's perfectly illegal. That's perfectly loud. But if they say it in the country, it's now a danger. Like, this is so, it's all so fake. It's all so stupid. It's all so dumb. It's all to appease a genocidal terror rape state, quite literally.
So what horrific criticism of the British government did I have? They said, oh, no, he didn't criticize the British government. You'll never guess which government's criticism got me banned from the United Kingdom. You'll never guess it. I mean, you could take days trying to guess. Is it Iceland? Is it Paraguay? Is it Turkmenistan? Oh, gosh. Is it America? Is it Russia? Is it the UK? No. Oh, you guys already figured it out? That it's Israel?
Cenk has said publicly, as has Hasan, I believe, that, of course, they're against the British monarchy. They don't think they should have a king. It's kind of hilarious that you can make that argument in a very forthright way, a very direct way, and, like, they don't care. Like, they're like, yeah, cool, whatever, come in the country. Who cares? But God forbid you criticize Israel, a different country, you're not allowed in. That is so fucking bizarre, man.
Yes. I know it's shocking, but you are correct. I got banned from the UK, not for criticizing the UK, but for criticizing Israel. It is beyond absurd. So, and it feels weird, guys, honestly, like they literally took my freedom away. And I'll tell you this, when I was at the airport and they told me, and they're like, sorry, sir, you're not allowed to board the flight. You cannot travel to Great Britain. It felt a little bit of a gut punch, and I'm surprised by that because it's kind of hard to shake me, right? But I think it's because I had a visceral reaction to having my freedom taken away. So I'm going to ask you guys throughout the video, what are we doing here? This is crazy. So now in Western governments, we're allowed to criticize Western governments. We're allowed to criticize our own government. We're allowed to criticize anything we like, except the government of Israel. If you don't think that's insane, there's something wrong with you. You're not getting it. Like, do people in mainstream media think that's normal?
An attack on free speech, the most basic of our freedoms, in order to appease the Israel lobby. All right, more. Here is Hasan Piker broke his silence, and he reacted. Let's listen.
Left-wing YouTube pundit Cenk Uygur banned from entering the UK. Yeah, it's... Okay, well, I didn't want to talk about it, but my visa has also been revoked. We just found out. Yes, I will not be going as it stands currently. I don't believe that I'll be able to go to the United Kingdom this upcoming week. I don't know who to reach out for this. I was supposed to do something with Yanis Varoufakis, do something with Zach Polanski, do something with Jeremy Corbyn, do something at the Oxford Union, and now the Labour government has revoked our visas. Go to Ireland? Okay, guys, it's not about being in the vicinity of the UK. I was supposed to do in the UK. Yeah. A sad state of affairs where obviously the interests of Israel take the highest priority. But yeah, they've revoked my visa as well. It's a 40-minute flight is what I meant. Politicians fly over there all the time for press stuff. Dude, what are you talking about? I had like actual things to do in the UK. It's so funny. You guys are like, dude, just swim across the canal, take a boat and enter illegally. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to risk getting deported and not entry into the country for 10 years. Can Jeremy Corbyn do anything about it? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. Dear Hasan Dawn Piker, your UK ETA has been canceled. This means you cannot travel to the UK without a visa. This is because your presence in the UK is not considered to be conducive to the public good.
Oh my word. Not conducive to the public good. Oh my days. Come on, man. And you know what's so crazy? I mentioned this the other day, but you have Smotrich, one of the Israeli government criminals who was, actively facilitating a genocide. He just marched in the Israel Day parade in New York City, right? Now, the Israeli government was smart sending him because he's one that doesn't actually have an ICC arrest warrant for him yet. Whereas Zoran said, if Netanyahu steps foot in New York, I'm going to arrest him, right? Smotrich doesn't have that warrant yet, and so there's nothing that he could have done. But think about the world that we live in, where By the way, the same day this is happening, I don't know if you saw this, but Ben-Gvir was out there saying, we're going to flatten Beirut. We're going to flatten Beirut, as 700,000 people are currently panicked and evacuating from Beirut because Israel says, yeah, we're going to carpet bomb and we're going to flatten the whole fucking thing and make it like Gaza, right? At the same time that's going on, Hasan's getting banned for calling that out, for saying, hey, that's bad. When you carpet bomb civilians, that's bad. When you destroy the lives of innocent people, that's bad. When you blow up babies, that's bad. When you tell people, hey, you got to evacuate and go to this safe zone, and then you blow up the safe zone, that's bad. For calling out the most basic shit, he's the bad guy. It's not conducive to the public good to have a guy who's anti-genocide there. I mean, that's like, he should wear this as a badge of honor. And this is also the UK just coming out as like, yes, we are evil villains. That's what we're doing. We are evil villains and we like being evil.
Apply for a visa. If you still want to travel to the UK, you need to apply for a visa so we can consider your circumstances in more detail. Having your ETA canceled does not mean you will be refused a visa. Nick Shirley can go, though, of course, because Nick Shirley is a dog for the fascist state. Yeah, it's sad, man. What are you going to do?
By the way, all the right-wing free speech warriors from 5 years ago, motherfucking crickets coming from that corner of the internet. In fact, you know, Michael Knowles was out there and he was like doing a victory lap over the fact that Cenk and Hasan got banned. And he was like, oh, great, I'll have a great time debating now that they're not there. Are you basically admitting that they would have bodied you in a debate? Because they would have, by the way. Michael Knowles would lose to an empty chair the same way his smug ass lost to me on Piers Morgan when I beat his ass into the ground for being a little cuck boy to Donald Trump and supporting the illegal war against Venezuela. And so now he's like, oh, great, it's great that they got banned. Are you fucking kidding me? All these right-wingers who pretended like all they cared about was the First Amendment of free speech, none of them ever gave a fuck about any of that, and you need to remember that. They have no principles. They don't care about anything at all, as long as they want horrible things for the people they disagree with. Period, full stop, that's it.
The other day, someone said, watch Labor Party do this a couple days before your trip, and it happened. Yeah, I genuinely, listen, I'm going to say something. This is a warning. I hope you guys understand. The Western world and liberal democracy is a sham, and
Facts.
all of the supposed things that they claim to care about, they do not actually care about. We are moving into a very different timeline.
100%.
Dude, I can't believe it. I cannot believe how much motion Israel has over other countries. Like, what?
On his point, you know what popped up on my feed the exact same time about learning all this? Ready? Korean woman at the same humiliation ritual in Israel. Father, forgive the nation of Korea who has spoken the word against Israel. This is real. This is real. This is a bunch of Christians went to Israel to grovel and cry and try to apologize for not being strong enough friends of Israel. Watch this.
Father, forgive the nation of Korea who's spoken the word against Israel and people of Israel.
Yeah, no, Israel doesn't have too much power over people, right? How about this one? Israeli Knesset hosted an event where Christian delegations publicly repented on behalf of their nations for insufficient support of Israel. One German cried, Lord, please forgive us for all the things we did that did not support Israel. Christians going there crying, whining, blubbering, going, I'm sorry for ever disagreeing with Israel. Israel's amazing, and I apologize for not permanently licking its anus. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with us? Same time this is going on, of course, you have the Israel lobby spending colossal amounts of money in various political systems all across the world to gain power, to gain sway. Our president, of course, is blackmailed by Epstein, who was Mossad, which means Netanyahu has all sorts of compromising material on Trump. You literally cannot make this shit up. We just covered a story in Responsible Statecraft. There's a provision in the NDAA, the House NDAA, which basically fuses the Israeli military and the U.S. military together. That's just flat out treason. That's just treason. And, you know, Hasan and Cenk are the bad guys for saying that's happening. They're the bad guys for saying that's bad. They're the bad guys for saying, you know, genocide is wrong. They're the bad guys for saying stop giving money and weapons to people who blow up kids and then brag about it. It's disgusting. And Hasan is right. Every single thing we were told about the so-called West is a lie. It's all a lie. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about liberty. They don't care about justice. You have the murder of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. The murderers are still out there roaming the streets like they did nothing wrong, like nothing bad happened at all. They don't care about constitutional rights. Go tell that to the people who've been illegally locked up in an ICE concentration camp with no warrant and no due process. And now free speech also completely and utterly gone. So it is incredibly disturbing, this situation that we live in. If you're not speaking up against it, you are flat out an enemy of civilization, and that's a fact. All right, y'all, that's the show. I love y'all very much, man. You guys know the drill. Everybody subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. Support the show on Patreon. Remember, it's real independent media. Never talked to an advertiser or done an ad read, so your support goes a long way. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack and go sub to Corin's World. The YouTube channel will be live there. Every Monday night, we're live there. Come hang out with us tonight. All right. Love you guys and see you later. Peace. Hey, y'all. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.